Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Singapore Collegiate Clash 2021. This is the Game.gg pre-game panel, and we are coming to you live from the Esports Experience Center at the Kallang Wave Mall, right here in Singapore. Once again, we're back for a live event for day 2 of the playoffs for this event. Today, we have just one match to bring to you, but it is the big match. It is the final, a best of 7 between NTU and Singapore between rather Slip for Guru, so the Singapore secondary schools and JCs of Singapore. It'll be a great match. Two of the strongest teams from yesterday. We've seen great performances from both of them, and we're looking forward to a really nice final today. So I'm Lumos, and
I'm
with me
Xenofly.
here, Xenofly, yes, and we're going to be doing some quick analysis for you for the match today. So two of our strongest teams from yesterday, they both looked really good, and they both probably will have a good chance of taking the win. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And don't forget, I think I emphasized this yesterday, but this will be a grudge match. During the qualifiers, NTU actually lost against Slip Frogguwu, but that was in an online setting. Now that it has come to a LAN setting, and it's a best of 7. Don't forget. So it will be very interesting to see whether this format will actually bring about any changes in this matchup. Especially since, in addition to this LAN aspect, a best of 7 also requires a lot of mental fortitude to actually make it through. Because I played in some teams before, and yeah, sometimes after best of 5 we can actually play, but best of 7, after the third map, after the fourth map, you start to realize that there's still a few more maps to go, and you start to lose faith, you start to lose morale, and it might and on the converse, if you actually like you are losing 2-0 or 3-0 and you start winning, you can actually reverse sweep, and it has happened a few times, especially even in contenders from my experience. So yeah, I do believe that this format will actually bring a lot of different changes, especially since NTU want to bring out their strongest, especially since they have lost against Slip for Go, and they have probably analyzed the games beforehand. In LAN yesterday, Slip for Go was actually analyzing NTU's game, and we can see them actually looking at the screens of their players. So maybe this additional age of intel will also actually help them in this game.
Yep, and don't forget, this is the first and the only best of 7 match that we have in this entire tournament. We've never seen either of these teams go the distance before. You need minimum of 4 map wins to win the entire series. So, as the match drags on, as we reach the later maps in the series, who knows what we'll see, what different changes and adaptations we'll see from the different teams, what sort of exciting changes to the gameplay we'll see, whether one team will rise to the occasion and up their game, or whether someone will start to crumble under the pressure. And that's an aspect that we haven't seen before, and I think we're definitely looking forward to seeing some of those developments here today.
Definitely a grueling series,
Yeah,
but it will be a fun series for us to watch. So yeah, I'm actually very excited to see. Who do you think
absolutely.
will?
Yeah, well, let's take a quick look at the team rosters. Two teams that will be playing today. First up, we have NTU.
For NTU, we have sorry, gamers. And there we have it. There was the NTU roster. And let's to reiterate on the tank role, we have Carl, otherwise known as Savage, and BTYX. For the DPS role, we have the very famous Bubble Kitty and the consistent Deadpool 117. And for the support role, we have Claire and we have Zerid. So yeah, first we will be looking at the players in their LAN setting, in their environment right now. And this is Savage. His gamer tag right now is Harl. Some of you might know him from the Pacific Contenders because he has played in teams such as Incipients, especially during the Incipients run during the Pacific Contenders 2018. Savage has actually been a very he has played in many tournaments and he has a lot of experience under his belt. So yeah, as you can see from his main tank gameplay yesterday, and even sometimes he played off tank, you can see that he actually is able to lead his team. And if you actually in this LAN environment, you could see that he's actually trying to shout out commands to his team so that the team can actually rally up and follow what he wants them to do. And now we have BTYX or BTX, depending on how you want to call him, and he will either be playing main tank or off tank depending on what Savage wants to play. His comfort is usually a Zarya, and I do not believe he plays a lot of Diva. But we'll see whether they will be able to bring any changes or any composition changes to this table, because as you know, Frogguwu is going to be a hard team to beat. So they might try to bring up some maybe double shoot compositions, or maybe they stick with their Ryan and Zarya as well. And now we have, I keep emphasizing, the famous Bubble Kitty. He's the World Cup player for 2019, and he's actually represented Singapore in Anaheim, California. So he definitely has a lot of experience under his belt. So actually, I'm really, as you can see from yesterday's gameplay, he really, because he was the player of the match for the match between SP and NTU. So you can tell that he's really, really pulling his weight. And let's see whether this experience and this gameplay will be able to be brought forward into today, because it's a best of 7, and we'll see whether he has what it takes. And now we have Deadpool 117, the ever so consistent hit scan DPS. Yesterday he was popping hits on Cassidy, and you can see he's showing some with regards to 44, who's our production for today. And it'll be interesting to see whether he's able to maintain his consistency today, because today he will be facing off against the Lucio. Hazi's Lucio always likes to sit on the hit scan DPS. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's able to, maintain his composure against the Lucio that's dueling him all the time. All right. All right. Next, on to the next support player, we have Zeraid, who's always playing Ana, and in fact, you can see right now he's actually practicing his Ana. He's always been practicing his nanos, and because I've been actually sitting into some of the scrims between NTU and other teams, he has definitely improved a lot since the last iteration and the last tournament. He also has a lot of coordination and with Savage, because generally what they like to run is Nano Winston. So I'm gonna hope to see some Nano Winston gameplay today, because Nano Winston is kind of a very good win condition. Oh, look at this. He's actually practicing his nade lineups, especially for Route 6, because it's very important to land the anti-nade on the high ground. Actually allows you to push into them, especially if you have a Winston to follow up on the big nade damage.
I guess we know what escort map NT will be picking. Should it come down to that?
Definitely. Maybe they and this is Claire, but unfortunately he's not here at the moment. He's apparently, from what my sources say, he's in the toilet. So, well, he must maybe have the nervousness in his system. He gotta flush it out. But yeah, he's gonna be he's gonna be the this is okay. What's this message here?
Yeah, just love how Deadpool has the spare capacity to meme on his own teammates, which is and our producer as well. So
right,
really great to see this relaxed environment going on with our players, even before the biggest match of this tournament. Always fun to see, and of course things like that you don't get to see too much in an online environment, but an offline LAN event is a whole different ball game.
Yeah, definitely.
And you really see the interactions between different players, which is really cool.
Definitely. In fact, this kind of light-hearted moments will actually have to lift up the morale, because if things get too tense and you start losing maps, it's really difficult to recover. But if you're light-hearted about it, but not obviously, you still have to maintain a sense of professionalism and seriousness. But if you're still light-hearted about it, it's really easy to recover, especially if you're one map down. You can just say fighting, and then you'll be able to reset the morale again. And now we'll be looking at Slipstick Frogguwu, who's actually still having a perfect record since their introduction in the tournament during the qualifiers. on the side of Sleep Frogguwu, we have on the tank role the player of the match yesterday for this is Butter X4, and we have Unknown, who's also always playing a lot of Sigma and other flex heroes. On the side of the DPS, we have Overshake, who's a very outspoken and player, as you can see from the interview yesterday, and we have Pao, who's also the Hiscan Cassidy player for their team. And on the support role, we have the third DPS, Hazi, who's also playing Lucio all the time because it's a Lucio one trick, and we have Shadow Litten. And yeah, this is a very well-rounded roster, as you can see from the games yesterday. And now we'll be looking again at their land environments in their natural habitat. We can see here Butter X4, who's preparing his Reinhardt gameplay. Yesterday we see a lot of nice Earth Shatters from him, so we'll like to see whether do you think we will be seeing more of these Earth Shatters today?
Well, I do have to say that, the opponents yesterday in Nanyang Polytechnic did face some difficulties with their team synergy and coordination, and that perhaps made the match a bit more one-sided than it otherwise should have been. So that, whether they can replicate this performance at Butterfly X as well as the whole of Slip in general against what we expect to be a stronger opposition, that remains to be seen. So I do hope to see both sides come out with some huge plays.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for the insight. And now we have Unknown, who's usually playing the off-tank role. Unknown has always been playing a lot of Diva in ladder, and he also has a very mean Sigma. So we'll see whether they want to pull out the dive composition, or even the Rein Zarya, or even double shield. This team actually can run a lot of different compositions, as you can see from yesterday's game against a hyper-aggressive team NYP. They actually played a very defensive team composition, and because of that, they were able to pull out they were able to gain an advantage and win the series. So I'd like to see what Unknown pulls out today. And yeah, with the help of his DPS player, Overshake, who's very outspoken. We can see him from the inside this casting table. We can actually see him. We can hear him giving morale to his team. And yeah, he's definitely trying his best to actually lift up the morale of his team.
Yes, I wonder who those heart symbols are meant for.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder who those are. Who those
maybe
are for.
we can ask him later if they do come out on top.
But yeah, he plays a lot of Tracer. And next we have Pao, who's the DPS player on their team. He runs a lot of Cassidy, and in fact, as you saw on his screen, he's practicing his Cassidy as well. And don't forget, he can actually pull out other heroes. So I'd like to see what other heroes he plays. But his Cassidy definitely is a force to be reckoned with, especially since Hazi, who is always buying space for his team. And with Hazi buying space and making a lot of aggressive plays, the Hiscan is able to get a lot of space to actually pop hits. And then we have the the so-called star player of Sleep Frogguwu, Hazi, who's the Lucio one trick on their team. If you actually notice on the kill feed yesterday against the NYP, he was actually getting a lot of frags, and that's really unexpected for Lucio to actually gain so much value. So it's very interesting to see how he actually does it, and whether Deadpool 117 will be able to withstand this constant aggression, in your face kind of aggression from Hazi. And last but not least, we have Shadow Litten, the consistent flex support player for their team. We'll see what he plays to actually combo with the aggressive Lucio, because he definitely needs to play something that can sustain the team. Because if you notice, and then another heart symbol, everybody's thinking it's Valentine today, but as for Shadow Litten, well, we'll see what he actually brings up to play, because what they need is actually a reliable healer, where especially when Hazi is out there trying to get frags, they need a good healer that can actually hold her ground. So I think he'll be playing a lot of Anna. So I'd like to see whether he can actually play Anna again, and whether they'll be able to pull out a good win, or even a good match for us spectators.
Yeah, and I really like how you emphasize and highlight the fact that different players on both teams have their own styles, have their own strengths and characteristics, because I think many of these players are familiar to many of our viewers on stream, and we will be doing our best, of course, to try and show you the perspectives and the camera shots from from each of these different players. And you might be able to see these characteristics manifest themselves in the gameplay that follows in the 7 maps that we're about to have. So definitely keep an eye out for aggressive Lucio gameplay, for some nice carry DPS play, for some big shadows from both teams, from consistent support play. I mean, there's a lot of things to look out for, not just from the teams, but from the individual players as well.
Definitely. I think it still boils down to a battle of the two support styles because as you see, both of them, both Claire and Hazi play a lot of Lucio. But Claire's Lucio is definitely different from Hazi's Lucio. Claire's Lucio is the kind that lead system, rally system, speed boost system, and control system. But on the other hand, we have the third DPS Hazi who actually is trying to get off frags. So we're gonna see which of these playstyles, whether the hyper aggressive Lucio or the more reliable Lucio actually ages out in this grudge match. As I emphasized, yep, it's a grudge match because Sleepy Frogguwu actually managed to win NTU in the previous match during the qualifiers. So yeah, and as mentioned, the land factor and the BO7 factor will actually have a lot of impact on the psyche and the mental fortitude of these players. So I'd like to see whether they are able to withstand the pressure that comes out with having such a format. As and yeah, I do believe that we are in for a treat.
Absolutely. It's Moth versus Lee Jacob. It's defensive versus offensive. Two of the strongest teams in the tournament will clash in the finals of the Singapore Collegiate Clash 2021. We're going for a short break, and when we come back, we'll jump right into the action. So stay tuned.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back yet again to the Singapore Collegiate Clash Overwatch 2021. My name is Twice, and right here I have alongside with me is, of course, Lumos. So we're in for a very exciting match. Of course, we are going to head into the grand finals between Sleep Frogguwu. It always makes me giggle when I say the name. And SU before result, aka NTU.
Yep. Well, as you've alluded to, this is going to be an amazing match. It's a grudge match. It's a best of 7. This will go at least 4 maps, up to 7, perhaps even more if we have a couple of draws along the way. Personally, I think it'd be great to see a really long, drawn-out match, simply for the fact that you have ebbs and flows and different changes in momentum, back and forth swings, and you just get a roller coaster of emotions, and it would just be amazing to watch and see how these teams evolve and fight against each other.
So by long drawn out matches, what's your prediction here?
Well, we were just talking about this in the break. I was thinking it would probably go to 6 maps because having a full 7 map series can be quite rare. 4 still seems like a fairly safe scoreline to aim for. So that's my guess. 6
Okay,
maps.
6 maps. Okay, for me, I'm gonna go with 5 maps. 5 maps because although both teams are really strong, I feel like it's really down to the wire. But one team just has that little upper edge, and for me, I'll be putting my bet on Sip Sip.
That's an interesting bet, and as much as I'd like to disagree with you to make things interesting, I do have to give the edge to Slip Slip as well, simply by virtue of the fact that they are unbeaten. They have a 13-0 map record in this tournament, by far the best record of anybody in the tournament. Well, let's quickly talk a bit about the map structure for our grand finals. We'll start, as always, with Lijiang Tower. I think no surprises there to anyone who's been following this tournament. And as you can see, we will do a constant rotation from control to hybrid to escort. And this map order will just repeat until we have a winner. Of course, it will be losers pick for this entire series. So we can definitely see teams going for maps that we think suit their playstyle more, or conversely, that's more disadvantageous towards the opponent's playstyle.
Yeah, ideally, right? But the thing is, both teams here, I'm pretty sure they are at that level that they can really just adapt and dish out any surprises that the opponents may be thinking the other way, right? Like, example, I think that you're really bad in Dorado, but hey, turns out they're actually really good at Dorado. They have strats for it, and they can just like bring out this ace in their hands, and then like, boom, hello, I'm here to surprise you, and I just take you this map. For like, it's your map pick, but I'm going to take your map pick anyway.
Yeah, and it may really be more about playing to your own strengths and playing to your own comfort picks than trying to think too much, overthink your opponent's strategies, and you just get into your own head after that. Better sometimes to just go with what you know with.
That's true, that's true. But of course, we are going to be heading into the first map of Lijiang Tower for our control map. And Lijiang Tower, the same old Lijiang Tower. There's not a lot of surprising plays has been coming out recently. It's just mostly the Symmetra, especially in night market, right? Just want to TP to the top, get control of the point, and then just go on from there. Try to hold it at the 2 choke points in front of the point. Other than that, the team comps has been pretty standard. The standard 2 shield. Maybe we can see some changes here and there coming up.
Well, I'm more interested in seeing what teams pull out in control center. Actually, I think we saw some Junkrat yesterday, which seems a bit of a meme pick. It's a bit of a, I'm playing DPS and on ladder and I got control center. Let's just pick Junkrat and hold on left click, right, for a bunch of damage. So, that's a pretty simple strat if you could put it that way. But we've seen teams pull it out and be pretty effective with it.
Yeah, to me, I think Junkrat, he was really in the meta at one point of time, but right now, he's neither here nor there, but he's actually quite potent with the double landmines as well.
Yep.
It's really good to burst down those squishy DPS and really just nowhere give this huge incentive of burst output, and that should be able to deter any shield comp as well, because the way those shield comp melts against Junkrat is a bit scary. And also quite good is the steel trap, of course, to catch the backlines. Anyone flanking around their backlines. So maybe I hope to see Junkrat come out actually for control tower.
Yeah, and it's a pretty rare pick on any other map, to be honest. So anytime we get to see some of the Junkrat, it's always fun. Well, here we see the teams.
It is
preferred warm-up methods. Some in the training range, some in custom workshop game modes, some chilling on Spotify and Discord. So, Slip Frogguwu still looking pretty relaxed and chill.
Yeah, fun fact, Shadow Litten, his setup is actually insane. He's actually cracked with a $5 mouse and I think like a $15 keyboard. They're both, if I'm not wrong, wireless. So that's one thing. But I believe it's like really meant for those office work, and he's peaked 4.4K. So can you imagine if he moves on to even more expensive equipment, or maybe even better equipment that he's comfortable with? But as of now, with $5 and $15 keyboard, he's doing an amazing job overall.
I think we've heard stories actually of Overwatch professional players at the Overwatch League or contenders level getting to the very top using nothing more than just the most bare bones of equipment and playing on 30 frames per second. So at the end of the day, the best players rise above their equipment and still perform well regardless.
Yep.
But I think we're about to head into the map Lijiang Tower. We're about to get started.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, let's take a look at a little video we prepared for you to get a bit of an insight into the comms between the players.
Okay.
Hello.
Check.
I count check.
Check.
Check is a bot, right?
Account I have on my laptop.
This recording, the thing is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a bot.
No, it's a bot.
lah.
Because the owner's a bot.
Ah.
Sorry, kidding. Bubble, no pressure, but they hyping you up.
Let's
I know on the
go.
stream. Let me watch. I'll hype myself also. Let's go, Bubble.
Let's go, Bubble.
Insert motivational speech.
I feel very motivated.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Woo!
They might be better and stronger than us, and we might get rolled. That's it.
10 years older than Unknown, by the way.
Huh?
He's secondary school, this guy.
10 years older. We doing O levels in K2,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. He's 10 years older.
Freak. Wait. I can do more. Wait. When you enlisted, right? He's still learning. What's that thing called? Models, bro. Face more.
Oh, I went off the map.
Also went off the map.
Okay, what the you guys do?
Trifon does go see your throw.
Hello 911, Asparagus is in my room. He has a mouse. Asparagus, Dragon Blades.
I want asparagus to give me 8.
Happy Father's Day to all my kids. Wash down the toilet bowl. I'm just kidding.
Like this.
No, God! No, God, please, no! It's
What game? Who are we gonna play against?
Geiger counter.
Which is
the one that is on stream right now.
Geiger of Geiger
Geiger
counter or 4 times that just beat.
Total Nature Space, our team.
It's our team B.
Oh. Isn't the 4 times that just beat the team we played?
I know,
You
it's
played
our-
against them?
It's NTU team B, dude. It's our friends. I think you recognize some of them is because we screamed with them in the same
did,
team.
right?
Yeah,
No,
I
in
was
the
thinking
same
about
team,
them.
not against them.
Oh.
The first time we met. Yeah, the first time we met.
Remember,
we
yeah?
streamed with them.
Just-
Oh, Team Bob.
Yeah, Team Bob, yes.
Team Bob, yeah.
Do you
Oh, yeah,
remember
Team
that by that name?
Asparagus. What a name.
Hey, Mr. Fu Baba Kitty. I don't think you have the right to comment on other people's name.
You know what? You're right. Maybe you're right. My brother picked it for me. When I was... Last time I remember I was like in Sec 1, Sec 2. Then he bought me World of Warcraft. So we were gonna play together. And then I was a female character. I was playing mage. So he called me Bubble Kitty. Then he called himself
Oh.
Sin Kitty. Then I don't know. Then after that, I don't know what happened, but it became my battle tag. Like, I didn't do anything. Then it just became my battle tag.
A sweet story, dude.
Oh, this caramel guy.
He's just aggressive. Crash is probably the most aggressive Lucio, honestly. You see him turbo feeding into the back line, no problem.
Why are you AFK in open?
Oh my god. Hello?
Down. Rebound. Oh, who DC? I think it's the bad.
I think it's K7.
He's one, yeah? Oh, there we go. Oh, but actually, 1 of 5v6.
Oh, let's go, baby. Oh wait.
I got 2 MLQs on stream.
we don't
I
have
got 2 MLQs on stream.
Furry power? Is this furry power?
Furry's out.
Go right side. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Big ding dong, slow. Big ding dong.
Please do not send these comms check over. Thank you very much.
Focus.
I catch a beat.
Nice!
It's a beat. What? I catch a beat. Insane.
Massive. Your cock is huge.
Can I DPS?
I can play Baptiste.
Oh no, don't Oh no, I got PTS. Oh no.
Yo, you want me? You want me? Wait, I got you. Oh, wait, I got speak for one.
I'm reloading, help me. Oh
Wait, you got it?
god.
Zem.
Yeah, we can-
Nice
we can
name,
hear-
dude. Look at your name.
Them
F semicolon Y.
Oh my god.
And dude,
Wait,
118.
Dude,
They really just the keyboard just.
Dude, how come they feel for 117 become 118?
No, no, I refuse to play until they correct my name.
118.
This
man.
spelled so wrongly.
What they spell the bubble key correctly there? The hell is
Who even typed that shit, bro?
Dude,
Oh,
oh,
freaking
disaster.
trolling there.
Really trolling, dude. If a barrier free, should you just like run ball diva, no barriers?
Dude, barrier free? That's don't sound barrier then.
No sound
Okay,
barrier.
Wait a second. You're not gonna sound barrier anyway.
Oh yeah.
Bubba stop playing Overwatch, he gets a girlfriend.
Oh, sure. Okay, I should try that sometimes.
Only reason why we haven't gotten much.
It's just one tricking our way to the top.
Oh man.
If it works, it works.
ACSI, it's a very creatively chosen name. Everyone always asks how is ACS, no one asks why is ACS.
Dude, this guy's cringe.
Yes!
Nice.
Nice guys. Nice Oh my god.
Well played, everyone.
Good job.
Yes!
We got one map! We got one map! Oh, good job! Oh my god! Good job, very, very good.
Oh my god, no way we took that.
In a fight because of EMP? Balance. Yeah, it's so dumb.
So Xenofly, you've been playing in this tournament for a couple years now. And we noticed that you like playing D.Va. Can you tell us why you like playing D.Va so much?
She's hot and cute. Oh no, stream has been shut down.
Not like this.
She's actually a very versatile hero. She's able to do a lot of roles in the team, so it's very easy to carry with her, especially in ranked.
So why don't
The
you
non-
play other off-tanks like Zarya or Sigma or Roadhog?
Zara not hot.
Because they're not a little Korean girl.
And we're back. That was a really funny comms check. We actually, hearing the audio and everything. I mean, this is, I think, a couple of times we watched it, but it never fails to, make us laugh.
Yeah, that was actually from the previous edition of the Singapore Collegiate Clash that took place sometime in the middle of last year, which is why you do see some teams there that aren't here anymore. But at the same time, there'll be plenty of names there that you would have recognized from this weekend, as well as the qualifiers at the end of last month. So great to see some returning names, and of course, great to get a look into some of the personalities behind the monitors that you see on screen.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see Xenofly, going from a player, an insane D.Va player, but now he's just an analyst. What happened? Did he get washed up? No, I mean, he just can't compete anymore because he graduated. That's so sad.
Yeah, well, not so much Zemphi, as he's otherwise known, based on what we saw in that video. Of course, that was me to death. It was pretty funny. But anyway, yeah, we are almost ready to get into the match. We had some technical difficulties going on in the arena, as is bound to happen in a live environment, but I think we've got those resolved, so we're just about ready to jump into the match.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what map we're going to be going into in Lijiang Tower. Could it be Garden? Could it be Night Market? Or could it be, Control Tower?
Yep, well, as we said, we talked about some of the things that we'd like to see from both of these teams in each of the 3 rounds. Personally, I'm hoping to see some wrecking ball play on some of the more open maps, simply because we've seen that NTU in particular does like to run the wrecking ball based compositions. I believe it is one of the comfort picks of one of their main tanks.
That is true. They could bust out the pesky wrecking ball, just buy a lot of time and just distract the backline. And of course, right now we will be in Garden.
Yep, it is Garden. Okay, guess maybe not the wrecking ball this time around, but never mind. It's a matchup for both teams. Pretty common strategy at the high level, just to teleport your team out of spawn, gain that few meters of advantage. And as we all know, getting to the control point first, getting into that neutral space in the middle of the map first is so important at the start of every control map.
Yeah, and what's important next, of course, we'll be trying to obtain the point in the first place. Let's see how it goes. So right now, game number 1 or map number 1 between SU before result and Frogguwu in the Garden. Right off the bat, let's try to just hold control point. As you mentioned, the Symmetra doing pretty good work, getting them onto the point. They should be able to get those turrets up as well, prevent them from coming through the back of the side as well. And right off the bat, first blood drawn by Power onto X-Ray. The Baptist down for the count. Overcheck trying to take down the Symmetra turret. So pretty pesky. And they are actually pushing SU before result off the point.
Yeah, and Frogguwu choosing to run what we sometimes call a zombie comp with dive tanks in the form of Winston Diva and a really mobile support line with the Moira and the Lucio. And the goal of this competition simply is to run at the enemy team, isolate a member, and eliminate them. And as you would have it,
yeah, it worked.
Yeah, the first casualty on the side of NTU was the Baptiste, and without that sustained healing, it was going to be very difficult for their team to stay alive and win the fight. So first advantage goes to Slip.
Oh, Power is trying to find for this pause, but it does stick. Does it connect up to one? Yes, it does. Dicks clear out at least. Too bad they're all just so clumped up on the side. And Power is just doing so much. But Slip again, team wipe, just like that.
Yeah, the immortality field just a little bit too late coming out from Zurich, unable to save his Lucio player. And, you know, the wraparound attack from different members of Slip just doing too much damage for NTU to handle right there.
Yeah, I mean, Slip right now, they have, of course, Primal Rage, the Death Blossom, and the Coalescence. Could do a lot of damage with it. They have the Graviton Surge. They have all the ultimates actually coming up very shortly, but it's just a matter of moment right about now that we got the Amplification Field, the Barrier, the Death Blossom, the Coalescence, all popping out at the same time. And in the favor of Slip, ooh, look at that. Charlatan gets 3 with the Coalescence as well. That is a very, very valuable ultimate.
Yeah, but I mean, all of the ultimates multiple ultimates being used by Slip, and they chose the perfect place to engage because he's doing so much damage when all of NTUs was standing in a straight line in that tiny narrow corridor. So they're gonna try again. Third time's the charm approaching by this wide room.
Yeah, I mean, they only used 2 ultimates. They still have 3 more ultimates for this upcoming fight. Bubble Kitty with a Death Blossom of his own comes to the side, but unfortunately doesn't connect to anyone. I believe the Shadow also has connected at least on the tree. That is a huge Shadow. Can SU before result follow up after that? Graviton Surge committed as well. Power does have the Pulse Bomb here. He can turn things around. Just gonna find mode. May stuck to the Rhino and he does Phoenix down for the count. Pow! Actually doing so much work on this Tracer. It is now overtime. He just got chased these 3 players off the side now. He is at least 3 players left remaining for Slip to try to retake, but Bubble Kitty and Howl is doing a lot of work. Claire trying to just support and heal up all his tanks and DPS all up, and just like that, overtime, SU before result manages to flip things around.
Yeah, the fight got really messy there. The sound barriers on both teams really prolonging and drawing out the fight. Multiple members of Slip Frogguwu falling low thanks to the Graviton Surge, and eventually by the narrowest of margins, NTU do win the fight.
Oh, looks like it's coming in another engagement. Bubble Kitty already has his Death Blossom, but can't find him because of the pesky defense matrix from the Diva, but Ankon kind of down for the count. Claire with a huge boop, but Mythics on the point also going him alongside with Deadpew as they clean the side yet again. Sweeps the floor with Slip.
Yeah, and you see NTU doing a good job of kiting the aggression, the initial dive coming in from Slip, and they just have Bubble Kitty distracting and slowing down the engagement with the Death Blossom. Even though it doesn't get lots of kills, it does split up the members of Slip Frogguwu. So another fight win for NTU.
Oh, Coalescence popped in by Charlatan, but right off the bat, 2 down from Slip. It is going to be the 4v6, 2 DPS down. The supports, the tanks, they're going to make something work here. Deadpew just going ham, the Symmetra laser just uncontested, and Slip has to fall back yet again. Could I say they're actually slipping up now?
Well, the engagement was slightly messy from Slip because the Coalescence came in not synced perfectly with the dive from the DPS, and I suspect that is why they lost 2 members right off the bat. Bunch of ultimates now coming up for NTU, and this is a very strong position. Slip will have to fall back and reroute.
That's right. They do have Power in the backline of SU before reload. That's going to be a bit of an annoyance. But then again, Amplification Matrix as well as the Barrier has been baited out. But they still have the Earth Shadow and the Graviton. This could be game-changing. But Slip, they have 5 ultimates of their own. They're going to come around the side. They are able to get all full team-wide right off the bat of a Sound Barrier and a Primal Rage.
Yeah, and I think Butter X4 and Power just starting wrapping around the back. They do pick off the Baptiste on the side of NTU from there. And you're probably not expecting the little flank coming in, and they're just not able to, you know, pick a side and rush that side quickly enough. And as a result, they do lose at the very end of Guidance. But that was a really close map, just as we expected.
Yeah, I know, fist bumps all around for winning this round. It was a close one. NTU almost took the reverse sweep here for this round, but unfortunately, Slip they're not ready to slip up yet, and they're just ready to hop on right back, wait for the Ottomans to come up, and then just bash NTU's head in.
But I think that's a good sign of things to come in this series. You know, Slip did take the point first, but NTU were able to wrest back control, and once they did, they held on to it for quite a while as well. So into a night market, both teams again showing the Symmetra, and both teams running with a double shield. So you can imagine that we will see teleports straight onto the point from both sides. Now, who can get there first?
Oh, look at it. It's all synced up. They're all going to fall to the point, but the first blood here, debut down for the count. There's the Symmetra. You had the one that Symmetra for that consistent damage, but she's down for the count, and Slip is actually just cleaning all the way up of SU. They're actually going to send him back to the choke point, and so looks like the TP from both sides. SU before result just came out on top there.
And if you notice, you will actually see that Harold on the side of NTU dropping outside of the point instead of onto the point. I'm not sure if that was intentional, but that may have contributed to Deadfield's death at the hands of Pao. He may have just dropped on the wrong side of the shield, so a bit unfortunate there for NTU.
And they tried to play very aggressive kinetic grabs, absorbing so much damage. But then again, Immortality View is already cancelled by SU before result. They may actually win this fight without that Immortality View. And they're just gonna go and push in without any difficulties at all. Bubble Kitty does TP right next to the Baptiste, catches X-Ray off guard there. One more on the point, goes for the reload reset here. Bubble Kitty tried to deal with this Lucio, just being so annoying. Claire is just gonna run right off the point here and survive. Or try to say Heist. He actually no, Heist is just gonna come back, try to delay the point, but it's already captured by SU before result.
Well, there's no time to breathe here as Slip Frogguwu do pick off a couple members of NTU, think about coming right back into the fight, but eventually it seems they will choose to reset. Probably shouldn't have given her a point in the first place. What is going on? How is Pao getting these kills outside the point?
Well, double Symmetra barrel from both sides. Overshake trying to make this barrel work in his favor, and it does as his team follows up here with the amplification field. Litten from the backline doing so much damage and healing. Just this Baptiste alone. And yet again, Claire on the point, last one remaining, gets cleaned up here. 35% on the point for SU before result. Not too shabby, but Slip, they should be able to hold this up to 60 before the next fight comes in and maybe take them out.
And that was all Pao on the Cassidy that getting 2 or 3 picks across the span of 30 seconds, just never letting NTU regroup as a full 6, and they couldn't get their backline in order. Here comes the Gravitic Flux.
Oh, Gravitic Flux does connect on the tree, but the Sound Barrier comes in from Clash, should be able to sustain a bit longer. Bubble Kitty actually manages to take out the deck. He teleports to the side, goes on the Death Blossom, gets stunned ultimately in the end, but at least gets one with the Death Blossom. They're coming back yet again onto the point, trying to take Frogguwu, at least get him out of this point, but Heist is just being so irritating on the point. As Lucio doing great amount of work, stalling Claire, trying to at least whoop them off the point, but the Sound Barrier comes in from Slip. This is going to be a huge potential here for Buttrex to follow up. He does have the Earth Shadow, but gets taken down here. Heist, Sound Barrier is off, and now Claire, as the Lucio on the support, is just going ham.
And beautiful timing there from Deadfield, from Bubble Kitty rather, on the Reaper, teleporting to the back, taking so much of the attention away from the rest of the members of Slip, and that is ultimately what wins them the point. So 44% on the board, a good chance for NTU to accrue some decent control percentage here.
Oh, Earth Shadow blocked by Buttrex. Amazing job. Now Heist could go for the huge boom here. Just finding the moment here. May get the right up, but no, just unfortunate, a bit too short. But Overshake and friends, they just got the point in the bag because the amount of damage they are dishing is just way too much for SU before result to handle.
Yeah, and the window, they're just gaining so much space on the side of Slip. NTU back off, but not quickly enough, and to get their formation picked apart by the side of Slip Frogguwu. So last fight territory now. Can NTU find a way to touch the point? The Lucio looks like he's going to go for the touch. Is he going to get it?
Yes, he is, but Deadfield right now coming up to the front. He does have the DI. Can he find the moment here right after this Immortality View and the Symmetra turrets? Could potentially go for the reset here, and there we go. SU before result, they managed to take it back yet again at the overtime.
And Harold lands, I think, a 4-man Earth Shadow in from main, while the whole of Slip Frogguwu are looking back at the Lucio trying to touch the point. So not just contesting, but a great distraction coming out from Claire right there. So once again, control of the point flips. And you again have control, 71% and counting. We are entering last fight territory, so this could be the one fight that decides it all. Everyone is so low on the side of NTU.
Oh, Gravitic Flux from Ankun as well as the Deadeye manages to take on the Immortality View only, but as the Earth Shadow doesn't really connect onto much here, just onto Bitix. They should be able to push them out from their choke point, and they have no issue because as they take down just right off the bat 6, it's a blink of an eye.
Yeah, and well, they fell low at the start of the fight and had to use their immortality field and sound barrier pretty early on, and they had nothing left for the window coming out from Slip. So it is a very close round 2 of Lijiang as well, but it is 2-0 in favor of Slip Frogguwu, and they draw first blood in the grand finals here.
And I gotta admit, the way they use their out economy is just so beautiful. They don't use it all at the same time. They find the right moment to stagger the ultimates two at a time. Or if they really need to, there's only seen once that they used all 4 ultimates. But on the south, SU4 results, they've been using the ultimates like it's free, right? They gotta find a way to stagger their ultimates to at least have it appropriate in every fight.
Yeah, and the concept of staggering and layering your ultimates is so important in high-level Overwatch, especially in coordinated team play. I think we've seen a decent amount of it from both teams here, but at the end of the day, it is Slip that do come out just on top here in Lijiang Tower. So we'll be heading into a hybrid map for the second map, and of course, this will be the map choice of NTU.
Any predictions on this hybrid map?
Well, I think we saw a lot of King's Row yesterday, so I might just say King's Row again here today. Honestly, as we alluded to, it is a comfort pick, and when you're not entirely sure of what style suits you best and what style suits your opponent best, you may just want to go for something that you're comfortable with, not have to think too much and second guess yourself. Just focus on your own gameplay and try to perform and execute to the highest level that you can.
I mean, I believe we saw King's Row on yesterday's semi-final between NYP and Slip, and I believe Slip actually held it at the first point, didn't they?
Well, it was pretty close actually between both teams on the first point. But yeah, maybe this map does favor Slip, or perhaps it's simply the fact that they're such a good team that common and popular map like King's Row is going to favor them in any case.
Okay. I mean, I think I will go King's Row as well. I mean, pretty common map and as well as comfortable.
Statistically, I think
statistically, right?
That's the most likely outcome. So
the surprise pick would be Icon Wall.
Yep, might be Icon Walt. I mean, we did say Farah is a popular choice with the lineup that NTU likes to run, and that could, make Icon Walt a pretty suitable choice in the end.
Yeah, but before we hop into the next match, of course, we're gonna go on a short break. So we'll see you guys then.
Welcome back to the Singapore Collegiate Clash 2021 Grand Finals. It is the first map done and dusted, Lijiang Tower taken by the side of Slip Frogguwu, a pretty close 2-0 in the end. And we're just waiting to see what NTU picks for the second map. Before we head in, we would like to tell you a bit about some of the sponsors that are powering our event here today. First of all, we have All For You, which is a club, which is an organization that's targeted at student-run clubs and interest groups. If you're looking for someone to help sponsor your event, empower your event, make your events possible, or for you, it's specifically designed to help you find sponsors that, match your brand and can help you achieve your goals. And sponsorship applications are now open for the year of 2022. And submit your applications by the end of this month at this link, swiy.io/sponsorship_request_form. To try to put that in the chat for you so that you can, don't type all of that out.
Yeah, you can go and click it. Now, before we also want to go into the map pool, we also give a huge shout out to Antidote Studio, Game.gg, Game Pro Shop, Unico, Princess, and Blizzard Southeast Asia. And that is for our sponsorship. We'll give more info, especially for Antidote Studio. But the map pool is gonna be Kings Row. All right, predictable, right?
I mean, I think you picked the safe option, and the teams have picked the safe option as well, or at least NTU have picked the safe option. I think the point really is to focus on your own gameplay, focus on executing what you know you can do to the highest level. Not have to worry too much about the map, not have to worry too much about compositions. Go with something you know how to do.
Yeah, I mean, the double shield comp works very well on this map. The dive comp, I believe, even the zombie comp, every comp works
Pretty much
on
every
Kings Row.
comp, yeah.
It's just really down to the very hairline basic communication and teamwork you work with, to do with your team, right? You have to try to find ways around the enemy, try to adapt on the go rather than a pre-plan, because sometimes plans tend to mess up in Kings Row.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see whether NTU choose to run with a different composition, a counter comp to what Slip have, or to stick with the same mirror matchup and hope that they can just refine the execution a little bit and come out on top this time. Because after all, Lijiang was very close, and it might give reason for NTU to hope that they can actually appear as the superior team.
Yeah, I mean, SU before result, they have a chance here. They will be attacking on the first side before they swap over to the defense. So there is potential here to capture the first point. At least bring it through the street phase, perhaps up to the third point. My prediction is SU will at least bring it to the third point here.
Well, it looks like NTU are going to go with something entirely different. They've put Bubble Kitty on the Pharah and Deadpool on the Widowmaker. Of course, the Widowmaker may just be for that initial attempt at a pick from spawn. But what this tells us is that NTU are going for a counter comp. They're going for a different style of play that is contrary to what we saw in the first map. And, it's always great to watch different styles of play coming out from the team. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, and I love the token pick coming in from Slip. He's able to, put the turret on the high ground. And that is going to dish out so much damage. And it's hard to take it down as well. So much melee coming in from SU and short range attacks here. Maybe only the McCree will be able to do something about it. But look at that. DP is already tagged down solo, but it's going to be able to get healed up. Your BTX being brought down solo, and that's your main tank down for the count. And Slip, they're going to find this opportunity to just go right in and clean up SU before result. Maybe stagger the last guy. Nope, it's gonna even clean him up. Team kill, just like that.
Well, Bubble Kitty going over to the Reaper just before the start. It's Raid going to the Ana, which is not the most common choice in a brawl composition, because Ana doesn't have the raw healing output of a healer like Batiste. So perhaps it seems that NTU are prioritizing the nano boost over the heals and the immortality field. So let's see what they can do with the nano, but already that's solid.
I'm pretty sure the hammer was the 200 damage just slapped right on top of BTX's head there, and that is gonna enable them to get a second team kill. That fight was just so fast. The moment I saw the Earth Shadow come out, yeah, just completely wiped.
And I mean, what can you say? Slip have better sustain. They have more shield and damage mitigation, and with the Torbjorn, they have a ton of close range damage of their own. So, SU before results will have to find something different.
Okay, Amplification Matrix, they're gonna send Butter all the way in the front line. That's super aggressive. It doesn't even get melted down in time. And SU result, they failed to capitalize on that, but they're gonna hop right on in. How is Slip gonna respond? The Molten Core comes out, is able to take down at least the Cassidy. BTX with the Nano Boost, maybe he'll do something, but whoa! Huge Dramatic Flux alongside the Molten Core, able to just clean up SU before result. Yet a clean up after clean up. Decimated and deleted off the point.
And it really looked like the rush was going to work from the side of NTU. The nano boost onto the Reinhardt with the speed boost from the Lucio, just tearing through the ranks of Slip. But Unknown survives, kites the aggression, and it pops up with that gravitic flux at the very end. Gets 3 before taking himself out, but he goes over to the D.Va anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he goes over Diva. Should be able to, he made full use of the Sigma. So, of course, maybe Diva could be a better pick against their team comp. Sound Barrier comes in. There's also the Dead-Eye for Pao. Maybe able to connect here. There is the Immortality Field trying to sustain from both sides. And there is the Graviton right on to all the members of SCP-4 or the Frogguwu, but can they actually come out on top after that? Most of them actually survived. 3 left remaining for Slip.
Yeah, 4 ultimates rolling at the same time there from the side of NTU, including the all-important Graviton Surge, and you see the last vestiges of the ranks of Slip being cleaned up. Ultimately, it was the breath that made the difference. It allowed the damage to come through from the Reaper and from the Reinhardt. Stacked on top the Sound Barrier from Claire, and it was just impossible for Slip Frogguwu to kite. So, NTU running forward, cleaning up members of Slip. How many stagger kills can they get? This could actually be really important.
They are going for so many stagger kills. If they can find the Baptiste as well as the Tobian here, it could be pretty huge here. Are they ballsy enough to go for the dive? Immortality if you popped as well. I think this is the point of time where they have to back up.
Oh, a bit of indecision there, I think, from NTU of whether to go and chase those final 2 kills. But they do get out alive at the end, and the payload is all the while moving. It's probably the Reaper that's still stuck on the payload, on payload duty. Might be the Cassidy, one of the 2.
I mean, it's not bad. They got it past to the vent at least, and here comes Outshadow from Butterack. They can't connect onto the enemy right here, but the Molten Core doing so much damage against NTU. Dead-Eye pops as well, Nano Boost. But how much can they do against Slip? Slip just has more zone control here.
And a single accretion from Unknown, getting 2 kills somehow right there. Not even assisted by the windows. That's pretty interesting. Definitely now this gives Slip the chance to set up with the double shield. You see a sneaky flank coming through from Power onto Cassidy. He does have the Dead-Eye ready to go, and I think Sigma is there with him. It's Baptiste is there with him to provide an immortality field. So this could be deadly if NTU don't recognize that he's there.
Yeah, I mean, Overshake has been doing so much job on the Tobian. The Molten Core denying so much area, and the moment they just stand in the Molten Core, they're just there. Look at the Bubble Kitty in an opportune position. And the timing! How actually manages to take down at least 1 DPS and 1 support. Can the Frog Boys follow up from here on out?
I think 25 HP back to Cassidy, just saving Power there. A slip of HP left on the street as he pulled the trigger on the Dead-Eye. The fight is still going. Slip don't feel confident in winning the fight yet. They invest in Gravitic Flux. And they do perhaps most likely clean up this fight. Oh, maybe not. Here comes the Graviton Surge along with the Reaper pumping in the damage, and somehow NTU will turn this fight around.
Oh man, that's a sweep and reverse all over again. And yeah, they managed to actually get it to the 3rd point, unless the Frog Boys here have something to say and stop them right here.
I don't know how that happened. I believe it was yesterday where we saw Bubble Kitty alive on a Reaper with one of his tanks, turning a seemingly unwinnable fight around. But
sorry, Iconwald. Yeah, I remember that.
Happened on Iconwald as well. But a miraculous turn of events, NTU hold on to the point. Now here comes the Nano Death Blossom.
Oh, Nano Death Blossom, but unfortunately it gets cancelled by the flashbang from Pao. And now the Molten Core will be all over the area. And I don't think it. Oh, hang on, huge move come from Claire. There's 1 DPS down for the count. They should be able to sustain him, or at least prevent himself from getting staggered. I hear the amplification field being popped here by Shadow Litten as well. At least to secure more of the timing. You want to hop right in front of the amplification field. Wow, look at that Bitic being brought down to solo. He has to get healed up by the end. The burst healing does come through enough. Dead-Eye comes on, but there is some barriers to at least absorb that damage. They're just trying to push onto this one. They feel the good flash round to Butter X. That's one of the main tanks down for the count on Slip. They are going to continue this push out in the open as well. Experimental barrier can only hold so much. And there we go. The Graviton Surge as well being popped here. Power from the back. Tries to get some Dead-Eye kills here. Unfortunately, not enough. Bubble Kitty actually all up into their spawn, getting that lifesteal on top of Butter X. He goes for more. He goes for the second kill as well. Death Blossom up and online. Uncode on point. Trying to contest as long as possible. Overshake. He tries his best, but Bubble Kitty putting in the work. Death Blossom towards the end to secure the point control.
Oh, the perfectly timed Wraith form coming out from Bubble Kitty there to dodge the hammer swing and get the reload in. Finish off the enemy Reinhardt. So I have to say, I am really intrigued by this composition coming out from NTU because they are not playing so much for team synergy as they are playing for ultimates. The Nano Boost in particular, so potent when combined with the Reaper or combined with the Reinhardt. So a different approach here, NTU sacrificing what we might consider an optimal composition, you go for the raw firepower of ultimate combinations. Here we have a quick replay of Bubble Kitty at the very end. There's the beautiful Wraith reload. It's going to clean up, gets the Cassidy, gets the Sigma, and then a cheeky little Q at the end for good measure.
Yeah, that Blossom to make sure that Lucio don't get on point. He almost touched the point, but too close. But no so close, but no cigar.
Yeah, and a very good result in the end for NTU. Not going to be SUing this one, that's for certain. 1 minute and 23 seconds left on the clock. As they complete all 3 points of King's Row. And Snip Frogguwu showing something a little bit different at the start, perhaps abandoning the double shield composition, going for something a little more high tempo with the Rhine Diva comp.
Yeah, I mean, Overwatch has he's been playing a lot of those, quote-unquote unorthodox heroes, like the Torbjorn and now the Mei, and he's been doing an amazing job at it as well. So I'm expecting to see more from Overwatch on the Mei, potentially at least to split up their team, but he just needs to find the timing, positioning as well for this wall.
Yeah, running the offensive main, not as easy as running the defensive main, but pushing around to the point the wall gets nothing. Oh, hello.
Spiked in the head by Overshake the Mei. Does a lot of damage. Powers are doing, fanning the hammer away. Bubble Kitty down for the count. That's the ice what I've been talking about. Great cut off now. Can't really return back into the flank, and they should receive the first points in the basket as a gift. Gotta get rid of one more Lucio.
Yeah, and
get off my point. There we go.
The problem with what NTU is running is that their composition, as we said, relies a lot on ultimates, but when the sheer brawl death ball of Slip with the Lucio and the Batiste runs at you, with that magnitude of healing, it is very difficult to win that head-on fight. So NTU will need some time to build up the ultimate.
Oh, the ice wall almost catching the poor Bitix out, but right again, they are trying to go and push up on the aggression, trying to at least stop the payload under the Archmage. The Diva Bomb does come out from Ankon, doesn't really find its mark here as they all hide in the alleyway. They do get a couple of flashes here and there, but Slip, they are winning this fight. They have won the 6v6 and no issue at all. They should be able to push the payload, at least to do the ban.
Well, the consolation there for NTU is that for a few seconds, nobody was on the payload for Slip, so it was not going to make that much progress through the streets phase for the time being, as you before result could potentially get 2 more fights still in the streets phase. But the ultimates primed and ready to go for Butter X4. The Earthshatter proving deadly on a number of occasions already today. However, on the other side, NTU have the graph ready to go and the Nano Boost. Let's see how they sequence these ultimates.
Yeah, I'm going to predict the Shadow on the tree, and then the Graviton will come out as a counter and try to prevent any more damage from being done. Well, let's see how things pan out. They got to get rid of the shield first, at least to get rid of the shield. But turns out my prediction is wrong. ButterX actually gets flashbang here, a huge flashbang. And now, as you would take full advantage of it and just capitalize it, pushing them back into the arch and perhaps into their spawn.
Yep, and on that occasion, the Lucio falls first to the side of Slip Frogguwu, and without that speed boost, just a little bit hard for them to kite the incoming damage from NTU, who push forward aggressively and clean up a couple more kills. Claire, almost gets flashbanged and killed in the alleyway in the corner there, marked off by the McCree, but not going to happen. He lives to fight another day.
I mean, look at that. SG before results, they have 6 ultimates. Sip only has 4. Let's see how they make it work. Blizzard does at least get rid of the main tank. So that's Earth Shadow down for the count. ButterX trying to find the Shadow, but there's a Zarya on the way. There's a Bubble waiting away, trying to bait it out. Just fighting for the Shadow. There we go. Bubble is down. Shadow Glass down, but doesn't really connect all too much here. And the Death Blossom coming in from Bubble Kitty does take down the Immortal Field only by so much. Amplification Field trying to dish out as much damage as possible from Power as well. They actually didn't really get much out of 4 ultimates. They only have the Data and the Earth Shadow remaining.
Yeah, and then the Graviton Surge and the Death Blossom not really combined there. I think that bit of miscommunication perhaps coming in from the side of NTU.
Oh no.
The Diva Bomb thrown into the backline, and Slipster will eventually clean up this fight. The longer the fights go on, of course, the more things start to favor Slipster Frogguwu with their better sustain. And if the initial burst of ultimates doesn't really work for NTU, it can be quite difficult for them to find an advantage in a prolonged fight.
Yeah, I mean, Bitix, he hasn't used his Earth Shadow for the past 3 minutes. He needs to find his Earth Shadow to change the game. But ButterX and friends, they are just holding it down. They are able to at least get him off from getting the Earth Shadow on the floor.
Yeah, the previous fight started off by Overshake walling off the enemy Reinhardt and solo blizzarding him pretty much. Let's see if that's going to happen again. Oh, Harvey again with the first casualty at the start of the fight.
Oh, Ice Wall coming in. This could be clutch. That's the nano boost. Kind of wasted here. But I mean, it does scare him back out of the point. Just waiting for the opportunity to use the Earth Shadow. And Hull, he has his Graviton Surge up and ready again.
Yeah, you can see Blizzard's trying to chase the kills there with the nano, but you shut the kills.
Oh, Shadow! Out of nowhere, rXis with the 3-man Shadow, and this has just changed things completely around. Even I was surprised by that. Right around the corner, man. That is some amazing Earth Shadow play coming from rXis.
The window coming out immediately after the Shatter connected, allowing for the 200 damage Fire Strike to come through, and you will get a final chance to cancel. Grab is ready, and the Death Blossom.
Oh no, Bitix, he can't find the Earth Shadow. They do use the Graviton Surge, but there's the Reinhardt shoot in the way, and Slip. They're just doing so much powers on a 20-player kill streak as well, if you just saw.
Oh, Claire dies with 99% on the Sun Barrier in the end. The aggression from Frogguwu absolutely perfect to deny any opportunity for NTU to use that huge cage of ultimates that they had. So really, really nice understanding of the win condition there from Slip. Pierce that Earth Shadow once again from X4, perfectly timed, and then the Fire Strike through the Amp Matrix cleans up a 225 HP Cassidy, and that was beautiful. The timing, the decision making, so quick there from the side of Slip.
Yeah, the timing where Bitix actually let go of his shield at the right moment as he was backing up. That was just unfortunate. That practically cost him the game there. I mean, as a Reinhardt, I understand that you want to constantly like flash your shield up and down to have that mobility so you can go back and forth, but you know, when the enemy finds out about your pattern, they will find a way through and they'll just break you.
I mean, whether it was, you know, a Hail Mary Shatter or the read of all reads, a 200 IQ play there coming from Battlefield X, it wins Slip Frogguwu the round. Now they have more than double the amount of time that SU before result has, and it's time for a change up for NTU. Bubble Kitty perhaps going with the Genji. Is he going to stick with it? Yes, no. I don't want to call it too soon. Last time I said he was going to play Pharah and then he switched off. So, yeah, there we go. Back to Reaper. So, same strategy coming out for NTU. Once again, they are playing for ultimates for that Graviton Surge most crucially.
Yeah, you can see that it's going to fight around the fountain instead of the choke point here. That is at either side. And trying to get some positioning on the high ground of the fountain here. Maybe dish out some rocket damage. Just distract the enemy. And I believe that's the Ice Wall cutting them. They're cutting their retreat. Maybe able to catch one here. There we go. That's Bubble Kitty and Zenrit down for the count. Bitix as well. There's 3 men remaining. Make that 2. And they're all the way back into their point. Make that 5 kills in the end for Slip.
Yeah, and NTU very clearly trying to bait out the Ice Wall from the Mei by just kiting around the statue, but they take so much poke damage that Zenrit just cannot keep up that level of healing with the single target heals of the Ana, and that eventually leads to their death. So 30 seconds left on the clock. Only really a dead eye to work with, and a Sound Barrier coming up soon.
You know, rXis has been really clutch because in that one fight, he has his Earth Shadow right within 30 seconds. He's so low, but no one can catch him through the shield. He's 100 HP. He can't get the Earth Shadow off. And as you before result with the 2 ultimates here, actually managed to push onto the point.
Got the aggression there from the side of Slip just backfires as Zenrit lands a huge nade onto the enemy Reinhardt, forces Slip Frogguwu to give up all of that positioning that he had gained, and that allows the Deadeye and the Sound Barrier from NTU to be so effective. So they do get the cap, but we are in overtime now, and Slip have a great chance to hold and halt the payload here at this choke.
Yeah, rXis does have the Earth Shadow. They just need that one Earth Shadow as well as the Mei out just up in time. Data available could potentially go for the high ground, or maybe let's let him push through the arch, fight them right in the open, and should be able to clean house here. Just finding the timing here. They do have the nano boost for Bitix, and his Earth Shadow is coming up at the same time. Just a matter of seconds here, and there we go. rXis kind of whips his Earth Shadow here, but the Blizzard does come up. The Ice Wall as well pushes him off the point, and there we go.
No, it's well, I do want to call that a C9, but on the other hand, there was a Blizzard sitting right on the card, so difficult for anyone on the side of NTU to do anything about that. So really good composed play in the end as Unknown. Okay, I guess everyone was standing around and around. Tends to happen sometimes. You do see that in your games. But yeah, the Blizzard just understanding of the win condition there, knowing that one Blizzard can be so valuable at cleaning up and pushing the members of NTU off the point, and it is Slip Frogguwu who halts the payload just before the archway.
Yeah, I mean, just gotta wait for the overtime ticker to just expire faster, right? And then just find the right moment to drop that Blizzard right on the middle of the payload, forces everyone back, and it even has the ice wall to let them stay in the Blizzard. So right now, Slip Frogguwu, they're actually changing up. It looks like they're changing up the lineup.
Well, lots of switches. They probably will run with the same lineup that they've gone with before, purely on the basis of the fact that it has worked so well up to this point. No reason really to make any big changes when they've got 3 minutes to capture point A and get a little bit of progress. Of course, it's not all lost for NTU. This is certainly very winnable. I wouldn't say drawable. The payload's not really in a drawable position. But as you refer results, this time they will go with the more stable composition in the form of the Batiste, so better able to deal with the aggression that comes in from the side of Slip.
Oh, look at that power. Quite unfortunate. Doesn't know where Bubble Kitty was there. And just like that, Doomfist down for the count. And this should be SQ trying to push things back, but Claire gets caught off here. That's one support down. They do have the Baptiste for the burst healing, but Bintix, oh no, that's a major pick off here. They lost their main tank and they're just gonna flood right in. This should be their point in their hands right here.
The rule reversal coming in, Slip going with the Ana this time around, and the anti-nade just throws a spanner in the works for NTU. They try to push through the choke and they all get hit by the splash. So beautiful little change up there from Shadow Litten, and that pretty much single-handedly gains the first point for Slip.
Yeah, they have the nano boost for the Rhino as well, or could potentially give it over to the Doomfist, but you know, right as I say that, Doomfist kind of gets caught off here by Bubble Kitty in the Reaper. He is in a pretty good position, not much damage being done to him. Let's see how things play out here. ButterX getting flashbang, a bit scary. He does have the Earth Shadow, he just needs to find the right moment, maybe right around the corner. He is nano boosted, trying to break down the shield. Shield is down, Shadow comes out, Heal Shadow lands onto the tree here, and they should be able to take the point, no problem, no issues whatsoever.
And no counter there on the side of NTU to do with a nano boosted Reinhardt with an Earth Shadow running at your front line. Bedix couldn't even back away, or his team would have gotten shattered anyway. So again, a very close map that went to overtime on both pushes, and actually wasn't an overtime push for the side of Slip, so my bad, but that was still pretty close. But at the end of the day, they do take King's Row 5-4, and it's a 2-map advantage to kick the series off for our youngsters here in the tournament, and look pretty happy about it.
Yeah, I can hear the crowd going wild over the Earth Shadow, just so juicy, so beautiful as well. The Earth Shadow was what won them the fight, basically.
Yeah, that plus I think it was the Ana change up, to be honest. Probably, and you were not expecting that change. You know, we've not seen very much Ana from the side of Slip, any of the previous maps that we played. Let's take a look at it. Shadow again that won them the final points. With the Reinhardt gone really, it was a free kill. The boot for Claire, valiant attempt, but his teammate was already pinned at that point. But yeah, I think the Ana change was very interesting. And you know, you saw NTU run the Ana to pretty good effect to begin King's Row. And I think Slip just went, let's try some of that ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Shadow Litten, he does have quite a fair bit of Ana lineups in his head, right? And like you mentioned, the moment everyone went purple is when they started falling apart. No heals would come in. Even the burst heal from Baptiste, absolutely useless. Immortality Field, I think it was taken down earlier on the fight, so it was on cooldown. And just like that, they were able to just pour right in. The waterfall floods everyone.
So already we have a bit of a narrative building here. Do we go for Ana or do we go for Baptiste? Both teams choosing both of these flag supports on various occasions and showing different playstyles coming out as a result. And I think that is pretty fascinating to watch, if you ask me. Some innovation coming out from both teams here, but it is Slip Frogguwu that come up on top in the end in the first 2 maps. So they are already in a very strong position. But it's not over yet. It's not a best of 5, it's the best of 7. 2 more opportunities for NTO to stem this flow and come back stronger in the maps to come.
That's right. It's not over till the fat lady sing, of course. I'll be the fat lady later.
Well, you can try.
I'll be singing.
Let's see.
Anyways, before we go into the next game, of course, we're going to take a short break and then we'll see you guys there. And we're back again with more SCC Overwatch Grand Finals, and there was some amazing gameplay or replays from the earlier matches as well from both teams.
Watching Unknown do some aerial acrobatics there for Sigma. I didn't know he could go that fast in the acrobatic flux.
Apparently, right? I mean, I'm quite surprised. Usually, you just float there.
Yeah,
maybe
I
try to
guess
move
that's
left,
why
right.
that's why most of my fluxes get cancelled. I think
That explains, right?
I should try that sometime.
Maybe you should stop going up instead. Just go
Yeah,
down.
just
They
go
can't
down.
catch you.
Yeah, hide behind the wall.
Overall, amazing gameplay coming from them. Right now, we're of course just gonna head into the map pool right now, and it will be Dorado for Escort.
I think that's the first time we've seen Dorado this weekend. This weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yep. I've seen Dorado only in the qualifiers at least only once or twice, but coming into the grand finals and even the semi-finals, Dorado first time.
I mean, and from past history of our Singapore Collegiate series of tournaments, Dorado has never been the most popular of map picks. So it's interesting to see it today here in the grand final. Of course, Dorado has a lot of high ground, so that sort of verticality is prioritized very heavily, which leads me to think we will see something like Winston or a ball, or possibly both from both sides. And on the DPS side of things, perhaps a Pharah and Echo might come in to really have some of that high ground control.
Or they can just stick to their comfortable picks and like what we've always been seeing with the Cassidy, the Reaper. I mean, Reaper can TP up to the high ground, but then again, you don't have that range, especially when it comes to the second point. But you kind of just need him for the first point to break through. Diva? I think Diva is a given.
I do think it will be quite curious if we do see a Reinhardt coming out on the first point of Dorado. So hopes for something different coming out here.
I mean, Reinhardt, first point, I think we'll see a Reinhardt. At least for the defending side. At least for the defending side, there should be a Reinhardt. Makes sense, right? And Sigma, maybe for Uncle?
Yeah, so perhaps a wide range of compositions is what we're going to see here on Dorado. Definitely interested to see what NTU in particular are going to bring to the table, whether they still continue to try and take the mirror matchup against the Brawl or the double shield or double shield Brawl hybrid, if you will, that Slip are running, or if they will now decide with 2 maps to go, half the match gone, they will have to try something different to up the chances of success.
The chances of success, I'm just trying to calculate for NTU in the map of Dorado. This is, of course, their map pick. 45%? I'll give them a pretty high percentage, okay? 45 is pretty lenient.
Well, I would say let's go 55 for my end. So slight edge for NTU, given that this is the choice of map.
I mean, they will be on the defending side, so start things off not too bad. And yeah, we do see the Pharah, the Sigma. It will be your pharmacy combo, in fact.
With the Orisa Sigma double shoot, so very spam oriented, especially with Deadpool on the Hanzo. So really looking to poke away at the shields and at the health pools of the tanks on the side of Slip for Frogguwu. Of course, if you can position your Hanzo on those high ground buildings, he can be very difficult to displace.
Yeah, look at that. There will be the Diva, Winston, the Genji, the Echo. Look at all these four divers. They should be in the Olympic swimming team because they're going to be diving right into SU's face. Let's just give it a moment. Just give it a moment. But then again, they have a pharmacy, so it's a bit hard to dive into it. Maybe they might get a bronze medal for it. That's about it.
Hazi goes from the brick to the Mercy, seeing that there's no threat really to his Ana on the side of SU before result. No divers.
Oh, you can see Bao on the Genji in the backline. Right now, they're kind of getting sandwiched on the high ground. They are finally making the decision to back up here. Winston trying to come into the front line, try to dish out as much zap damage as possible. And looks like first blood will be drawn. It will be a trade here for a tank and a DPS. But look at that. Of course, Hazy will be on. The Mercy just going to get a free res off the bat. SU before result, they're trying to find a way to break through Slip at this point in time, and they are able to just scare him off just this moment.
Yeah, Butterfly X yoinked back into the clutches of Bubble Kitty on the Pharah thanks to the halt coming out from BTYX, and took a bit of time for the composition of NTU to get warmed up, but once the payload got through that archway and the members of Slip had to walk through that narrow choke, the Pharah just did so much damage. So now
looks like we're having some kind of dogfight. Bubble Kitty against Overshake, this air-to-air battle, trying to get those direct hits in midair. Unfortunately, towards the end, they kind of gotta give up, gotta go back to your team.
It really does not favor the Pharah that 1-for-1, so Bubble Kitty wise to back away. Slip now deciding to take a slower approach, position to Ana somewhere more safe before going for the dive, and you have to respond appropriately.
Okay, there's the Valkyrie as well as the beautiful Gravitic Flux onto 2 here. Could be dealing massive amount of damage. Takes out the Genji. Good job by Harsh. But Butter X, he does have the Primal Rage, and actually in the end, Paul gets ranced up. Overshake trying to do a lot of damage in the air here. This being so scary. He does have the mirror image, so could potentially do a lot of damage.
A bit of anti-synergy, I'm afraid, coming up between the Rocket Barrage from the Pharah and the Gravitic Flux from the Sigma. Don't really want to lifting your targets away from the ground where they can take the most damage from the Barrage. Then again, not many vulnerable members on the side of Slip to get hit by that Pharah ultimate. So, good try there by NTU. They will have another attempt at defending this payload before it reaches the checkpoint.
Oh, Diva bomb land right here. The Dragon Strike comes out from Pao. Can he find the kill? He does find one to the supports here. Takes D-Max the Diva. Beatix, maybe Diva may be able to stagger her long enough, and she will be the last one to die, and they should be able to get the first point of Dorado.
Bahar has gone over to the Winston, which is an interesting pick given that there are not really many other divers on this team. It does join him onto the D.Va, so the tanks at least have some inherent synergy. As Kitty's in danger. Oh, he takes a... Okay, that was beautiful from the Pharah. Hit an upwards directed rocket onto the Echo. And he was really about to die, honestly, to that focusing beam. But he lives to fight another day.
Yeah, I mean, Kitty has been trying to find this direct hit, and he has been making marks a couple of them, but right on screen, the moment he's on screen, he kind of just missing his mark. But okay, right, as I say that, no, gets a good kill onto Haze here. Maybe able to hold him with this choke point. Rocket Barrage is almost cleaning up the Winston, is able to sustain just a bit longer. And they should go for the reset. Kitty actually goes for the hunt here.
Yeah, and a bit of an interesting composition now for NTU as Kitty is still not done, still raining down damage for free, but there's a nano boosted Winston in the backline, and everyone has to turn around and deal with this massive threat.
Oh, looks like Overshake go for the duplicate on the Winston here, maybe able to get the Primal Rage pretty fast here, trying to at least queue for his teammates, going for the support. Primal Rage is online, but there's only 3 seconds left on this duplicate. What can he do? He does actually get the Widowmaker here. He has to find a way out. He has flight. Can he make it out in time? He has 4 HP, and in the end, Kitty will manage to clean him up. And Uncodon's D.Va doing such a huge nuisance against the Pharah.
Yeah, and I want to say the sequencing of ultimates from Frogguwu was so beautiful there, but NTU doing such a good job of kiting the aggression, and eventually they neutralized most of those ultimates. As Deadpool gets a finishing pick onto the Winston. This is a pretty curious comp from the side of NTU. They've got long-range poke, DPS, and supports, but their tanks are dive tanks. So a hybrid composition coming out there from NTU, but it is working so far. However, Slip building up to that Nano Blade that could be absolutely decisive in finishing out this push.
And Nano Blade coming up very shortly. Litton just gotta get his Nano Boost, and it will be up right about now. I'm just gonna hear for the ultimate, but it looks like it beat the double D.Va bomb in fact. Nano Boost, there we go. There's the Dragon Strike, finds himself onto the clear. There's the Valkyrie down for the count. He goes for the second support as well. All supports down, DPS down as well. Deadpool going over the hunt on to Kitty here solo, takes him down. That's the 4K, 4 power. Now just carrying hunt for D.Va. Potential 5K here. Dash is on cooldown, 4 seconds left remaining. He has to back up.
Okay, and the D.Va there escaping by the skin of her teeth. One more contest, I think, still possible for the...
Oh, the denial! That was beautiful from Highs.
You have to wonder where all that damage came from the side of Slip onto the D.Va. Now, can the supports of... And you get away that anti-nade is a big problem if you're the Ana and the Mercy, and they both get a couple of melee kills by the Lucio. Indeed, a DPS Lucio.
It's a DPS Lucio indeed. That's quite unfortunate. They should be able to get it all the way to the band at this point of time, because they're just trying to make their way back to the spawn. I mean, Widowmaker still trying to respawn, swapping out to the Cassidy as well.
Yeah, Overshake with the emergency soldier has already built up a tactical visor, and the nano boost from Shadowton could be used in combination with that. However, the first dive will come in from the side of NTU.
Oh, huge slip on the top of Kitty. There goes the Rocket Barrage, and there we go. Overshake with the tech visor, just waiting for the Valkyrie to just show her face. Both supports down for the gunpowder. rXis are popping his primal alongside with the nano boost, is able to go for the team wipe. Beautifully done by the amphibians.
Yep, and the ultimate's getting far more value for the side of Slip. A desperate last-minute contest. The Doomfist is out on the side of SU before results. Claire can't even touch the points. And here comes the Dragon Blade. He's so low. Oh, he actually gets taken on by Kitty, but already the kills going in favor of Slip.
Yeah, there's only 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. 2.84 meters away. They are just holding on as long as possible, but the team, they're back. They're down on Lucio, but they want more.
Now the Genji's also missing for the side of Slip, so not a lot of damage coming out right here. However, Kitty does fall. What? The baby D.Va wins the battle right there. Claire takes out one. Deadpool with the nano boost. Desperation nano boost coming out from the side of NTU.
The nano boosted Cassidy can only do so much. It's just so up close and personal. But Uncle is still alive. He has the D.Va bomb. He's gonna pop it right onto the point, and there's gonna be no contest coming in.
It's a decent stall. Lots of time left off the clock from the side of NTU, but slipped it for Frogguwu. Just had, I do think, the better composition for most of that round, and their ultimates just generated more value. In particular, that Nano Blade that we saw, just such a reliable fight winner. NTU not able to aggressively engage before the Nano Blade came out, and therefore they could not hold the second point. Third point also more of the same, the Desperation Doomfist coming out at the end, not quite able to find any picks. So 42 seconds on the clock for Slip Slip, and you have to say a bit disappointed if you are from the side of NTU.
And then comes the Nano Blade coming in from Pao yet again. This is, I believe, where he got his. Actually, no, we didn't really get a chance. Now this is the 5K. Pao just going ham, takes down one swipe with the on top of the Immortality Field as well, and goes for the kill on top of Bubble Kitty. You know, I gotta give a like an MVP medal to Ancon as well as the diva, because he never fell back at once or something. I just saw him on the point all the way. He just racking up his ult, being a huge nuisance, eating up so much utility and damage with the defense matrix. I think Xenofly will be pretty proud of him.
Well, as we expected, different compositions from both teams coming out here on this very different map of Dorado, but it is more of the same. It is still Slip Frogguwu, who look like at the moment they've got just a bit of the upper hand. 42 seconds on the clock as they complete Dorado now. Let's see what NTU can do. Are they going to run with more of the same composition? At the moment, it looks like a bit of a switch up as Bubble Kitty switches to the Tracer. More of the synergy with the tank, so that's a good start if you ask me.
Yeah, but look at that, Pao. He's going to be playing the pesky Ash here. Right off the bat, D-Mac, that will be Bitix. He's going to be the baby diva. He's going to be a bit scared now. You gotta get that Mac up and running. Just gonna find a way, because baby diva just running around.
Yeah, the initial dive from the tanks not achieving too much on the side from SU before result, and they will switch out. Oh well, BTX just to switch to Remax. So into sticking to the guns for the time being, they will need to find a way to set up a dive onto those three members set up on the high ground there from Slip.
And then the Dynamite coming in from Ash just doing so much damage. And there we go, that's the Nano Winston just going all the way in. And Pao, he also has Bob just waiting for the next fight to find the mark to allow it happen. But X just going all the way in front of their spawn, doing so much damage with the Tesla gun. The Tesla cannon doing massive amount of work here, holding him right in the spawn. But Bubble Kitty, however, in the back line is able to take at least 2 for himself. So Slip, they got the call, they gotta retreat and wait for the DPS to come back.
And the bubble being dropped by Harold that just saves him from taking 250 worth of Remax damage. And well, Bubble Kitty actually with a huge couple of kills there that opens up the way for NT to push forward. Here comes the Nano boosted Brigitte, very, very scary.
Oh, look at that. Bubble Kitty just doing so much work as well in the backline. That will be Bob popped by Pao. On to the point, but not doing too much damage so far. The Valkyrie, yep, Hazy is gonna pick it off as well as the Diva Bomb being executed here. They gotta find his bug, but doesn't connect onto anyone at all. Overshake does have the tag visor, while Howl does massive damage into the backline of Slip. So far, NTU, they are able to at least push this to the first point so far.
Yep, and the Nano boost went onto the Tracer, not the Brigitte, so I misspoke a little there, but they just caught slightly out of position on the Hanzo, gets taken out by Overshake on the Soldier.
Oh,
but Bubble Kitty finds the stick on the Mercy, and NTU don't want to give up control of this high ground. They want to push forward as far as possible to stop Slip from setting up in that position, because it can be so difficult to dislodge a defending team that is encamped up there.
Right, look at Charlatan doing some kind of parkour here, trying to keep his carries all up and running as well. And the Nano was just waiting maybe for the Nano tag visor. Should come up very soon once they all show their face, or maybe once they demec the Diva. Instead, no, they're gonna go for the Nano Winston instead, as well as the, I hear a Dragon Strike coming in from Dave. Trying to counteract, but Overshake has the solo tag visor, does take down at least 2. How's the backline trying to find his targets. Unfortunately, can't really find his mark, but rXis in front line is able to hold the tanks off just a little while.
Bubble Kitty Soup, who's doing in the work on his own in the backline, possibly in combination with his dive tanks. 2 members missing from the side of Slip from Frogguwu, so yo, he just double peeked that, so probably not the wisest of the decisions from Bubble Kitty. Does get his head taken off by Pao, and Overshake follows up the kill onto the Ana. Did who responds with 1, but the advantage at the moment still looks in favor of Slip.
It is good positioning coming from Charlatan, just at the other side of the balcony, the rafters here, is able to just sustain his teammate from across the courtyard there.
Yeah, and the problem for SU before result right now is that they have no way of getting the R9 to a safe position on this high ground. While on the other side of things, Shadow Litten is very safely positioned, far away from the action, still able to rain down nades and shots.
Oh, that's a bit of a waste on the Nano Winston there. because he just got booped off by the D.Va boosters. But rXis, he's going in dry, gets caught off there by all the teammates. Nano boost, I mean, the Graviton Surge being committed just for the Raging Monkey. Does finally take him down. And right now you can see Anna gonna get contested here by Debut. Beautiful recon done right into her face. Pop gets popped here yet again. Right on top of Claire with Brigitte should be able to do enough damage to just sustain. But Bubble Kitty, however, on the other hand, doing massive amount of damage in the backline yet again.
Yeah, his pulse bombs, I think he's gotten a kill with every single one of his pulse bombs so far this match. So, for this map rather, so that's really quite impressive.
Oh.
Pal, with the last minute switch on the Wrecking Ball, now going to go back and pick the Winston once again. I would imagine it can be quite difficult to get a ball to work effectively in the tight confines of point 3.
Oh, that's a huge pick off there from Deadpew. Tracer, I mean, Paul finally opted out to, go in for the Tracer pick here. Let's see how much he can do there. But Deadpew with a huge Dragon Strike right into the very tight quarters there. Manages to catch Shadow Listen off guard there. And you see the dance from Ankun and Deadpew just back and forth. Tag visor from Overshake comes right on top with the rally. Should be able to find a couple of kills here with the teamwork. Wrecking Ball trying to find some sort of distraction. But then again, look at the high ground. That's Zarid getting caught off by the monkey as well.
Yep, and the later ultimates in response from Frogguwu just paying dividends, in particular the rally from Hazi, just making his team absolutely unkillable as they push forward and overcome the man disadvantage. So, NTU will have to find another way back into the points. They've got a nano boost coming up that may once again go onto the Tracer.
Yeah, Bubble Kitty, he has the pulse bomb. He just gotta find for the opportune moment. It should be 100% Q participation. But right now, Deadpew is just coming up from the sidelines, the flank, just distracting the enemy Tracer. Maybe able to get a huge kill here if there's a stun, but recalls right back. There we go. That's the Nano Tracer onto Bubble Kitty again. Trying to go for the kill, but the defense matrix and the teamwork coming in from Sleepy just way too much. Pushes for Bubble Kitty off the high ground. D.Va Bomb doesn't connect. Enough for the zoning, however. Shadow Little getting free space here, just healing up all the tanks. Just free damage as well for him.
Yeah, that looked very scary for a moment for the side of Slip Frogguwu because there was a nano boosted Tracer plus an anti-nade thrown into their backline, but the D.Va and the Brigitte doing just such a good job at keeping their teammates alive. And so the ultimate, the nano, doesn't really generate any value for the side of SU before result. Oh, what's this? It's a Ball and Winston lineup now, so just full-on send it dive mode if you are the side of NTU.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta make space for Deadpew in their own backlines to at least dish out as much damage as possible. They do have the minefield, so that's a zoning out in the hands of SU before result. They also have the power spot at the find its mark, and that is the landmines on the high ground. Remote landmines being quite annoying, but quite easily taken out by the Winstons. Just gotta find the timing here, but Deadpew finds a huge pick here, and Overshake tries to counteract this with the power spot, but gets stuck in the end. Deadeye kind of wasted there.
Yeah, Overshake stationary while using the Deadeye is the easiest stick of the life for Bubble Kitty, and now the kills all in favor of NTU. They push forward relentlessly. Can they find this map completion?
Oh, it might be at 42 seconds, but right now, since they don't want to give it up, they give the Nano Winston out for a count, but Overshake with the desperate Doomfist pick does so much damage. 30 seconds left remaining. Maybe able to catch out the Winston as well. Just so low, one more hit and he's off, and there we go. Papa will finish him out. And there's only 30 seconds left remaining on the clock. Overshake may have overextended. They gotta go back with the seismic slam as well.
The Doomfist, the Feast of Famine, all or nothing hero, and this time it comes up top drops for the side of NTU. 2 picks for the side, outside of Slip rather. 2 picks for the Doomfist, turning that fight around. Now it's up to Bubble Kitty on the Tracer to touch the point, but he's being kept away by the opposing.
The Gatekeeper. The Gatekeeper that is power. They had to send in the Winston. And there we go. Bitix jumps around the point at the final moment. They just gotta give Bubble Kitty some time here. He does have his pulse, but maybe able to catch out the Doomfist here. Deadpew with a beautiful data as well. Takes down Shadow Little. Overshake so low. That's the team kill, and that's Slip for Google able to push off SU before result off the point as well. Back to back, non-stop from Slip.
Well, that's 3-0 for the side of Slip for Google. I don't think any of us would have really predicted this. I mean, in all fairness, all 3 maps have been pretty close, but Slip just time and again coming up with a little bit of an edge, and they've just been performing at such a high level today as well, showing that the win yesterday was not a fluke, showing that they really do have what it takes to be the best team at this tournament. Oh yeah. Lots
Aye.
of chat activity going on in chat there. Monka TOS. Not too sure.
Monka TOS.
Well, the players still in high spirits. NTU, well, they really do need to find something different. They tried a mirror match brawl, didn't work. They tried a mirror match dive, also didn't really work out too well for them. So, what else do they have in their pockets? What other strats do they have that they have not yet revealed to the public?
There is still maybe some cheese strats to be played here on the last map. This is, of course, first to 4, and Sleep Tip is already up to 3.
Yeah, perhaps something of the balls and variety. We haven't seen too much. Not a lot of the Mora and Lucio zombie composition. So a few things that we have not yet seen. But and you probably do have to look elsewhere and search for answers in a different place if they are to come on top.
Maybe a Goat's comic change things up. Who knows?
Zero Goats 2-2, entirely possible. Well, we're going to take a short break and come back for the fourth and potentially final map of the series. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to our game break powered by uni.co. That's right, we have a mid-game analyst desk to briefly break down the action that we've seen in the 3 maps thus far. Well, it was close between the two teams as we expected, but the scoreline unfortunately looks one-sided, or fortunately, depending on who you're a fan of. It is 3-0 in favor of Frogguwu, and I have to say, their standard of play has been impressive. It's been close between both teams. We've seen exciting pop-off moments coming from both sides. So pretty happy with what we've seen so far, despite the scoreline.
Definitely. In fact, I feel like we can compare it. We can see from the COF maps, right, that it was actually pretty close. But well, the other Kings Row wasn't that close. But the last map that we saw, Dorado, was actually pretty close as well. This is because, from my opinion, from watching the game, I feel that there's a very big tank difference in between Sleep Frogguwu and NTU. Unfortunately, this resulted in Sleep Frogguwu having an advantage in maps like King's Row, where it's a very tank-heavy map, especially since NTU was running Ryan Zarya, which was a tank-heavy composition. On the other side, Sleep Frogguwu was running Reinhardt and Diva, and because of that, they were able to pressure the Ryan Zarya, and they were able to overcome the advantage with their tank differential. However, from watching, I do believe that NTU has actually a DPS advantage in terms of skill level. So I do believe maybe going forward, they might actually want to think about trying to prioritize a skill, trying to prioritize a DPS heavy lineup instead of a tank heavy lineup, such as a pharmacy composition. And in fact, that's what they did for Dorado during their attack. They actually managed to ran pharmacy on attack, and they ran pharmacy on defense and the tracer composition on attack. As if you notice in Dorado, they actually were able to perform so much better as compared to Kings Row because of the nature of their composition. This is
Yeah, and as we take a look here at some of the highlights from the side of Frogguwu, who've managed to come up on top so far in this match. Stay alive a bit. Just like to maybe think about some of the differences that have come up between the teams. Of course, here, as you mentioned, the COF map was very close, very chaotic, and the DPS, perhaps did shine a bit more strongly on the side of both teams. Particularly looking at power on the Tracer, few pop-off moments here on King's Row as well in the more brawl-heavy composition, also being protected so well by his tanks and by his backline, just able to find the picks, able to find the space that he needed to operate effectively.
Oh, definitely. If you see on King's Row, he ran Cassidy. On Dorado, he ran Genji, and on the COF map, he actually ran Tracer, so you can see that he has a wide pool of heroes that he could actually pull from. Projectile, hit scan, anything goes, man, for him. So I do believe that we'll be seeing a lot of different heroes again coming up from him. And depending on the situation, he can actually adapt. For example, on Dorado, where it's a more vertical map, he actually was able to run Genji, who excels in vertical mobility. And on Lijiang Tower, he ran Tracer because he wants to flank and take off their support. And yeah, so I do believe that this flexibility in terms of hero and adaptability will allow them to actually react accordingly to to what NTU has to throw to them. And don't forget, the Sleep Frogguwu has also another outstanding DPS that was able to actually pull their weight during the tournament. And yep, then here we will see some of Overshake clips during the tournament as well.
Yeah, and he has also been pulling his weight absolutely on the side of Frogguwu. Had his own real pop-off moments as well. Here, the Symmetra just beaming down constantly with a torrent of damage. The Soldier 76, and he did make an emergency swap Soldier, I believe, to get back to the point more quickly and build up his tactical visor just in the span of that one fight. So that was really quite impressive, and of course he stuck with it for the rest of the way in the Dorado attack phase. So a very solid performance coming up from both DPS members of Sleep Frogguwu. But of course, we must not understate the contributions of the rest of the team that really allowed them to perform at such a high level.
Definitely. In fact, as you mentioned, a very impressive display from the DPSs. And if you notice, the DPS heroes that were all featured in the clip are all different. That means they actually are very adaptable and flexible. They could actually pull out a lot of different characters and heroes to actually, like I mentioned earlier, to actually adapt to the situation. So I do believe NT will find it very, very hard to actually find a good counter plan because whatever counter plan they have, maybe Sleep Froggu will actually have a counter plan to their counter plan. So yeah, it will be interesting to see on this the map that will be next.
Yeah.
What NTU has to offer to actually try to break down this these team compositions. But don't forget, DPSs can only be enabled by tanks. So let's not forget the contributions made by the tank players on the side of Sleep Froggu, such as Unknown and Butter X4.
Yep, and the tank duo, the dynamic tank duo from the side of Dipstick Frogguwu doing so much work. Both of them having their own absolute highlight reels, with be it on the Sigma or the Reinhardt in particular. Unknown here with that late gravitic flux in the fight with no more defensive abilities left on the enemy side. Just able to generate so much value from that one ultimate and gain a number of kills on his own. His tank partner Butter X4 also on the Reinhardt, absolutely dominant. This one shatter must be the highlight. A perfect read on the opposite enemy. Reinhardt followed by, the perfectly aimed fire strike with no hesitation through the window. Just so much damage, so much emphasis, so much influence coming out from this single tank player. So both tank players really giving good accounts of themselves on the side of Sleep Frogguwu.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, as you can see from these clips, Sleep Frogguwu always has the more aggressive positioning. For example, the Ryan was swinging into the other Ryan who's holding his shield, and that's why they're able to gain a advantage, a HP advantage during that fight itself. And I do believe that this actually was the case for a lot of the fights on King's Row, which is why ultimately I do believe that there's a difference in the levels of the tanks, which unfortunately it will be very difficult to overcome. Which is why I do believe they have to try to change up their team composition to actually accommodate this difference. Because I do believe that on the side of NTU they actually have some very standout DPS plays. So maybe we'll see that going forward.
Well, as you say, the DPS players have been the stars of the NTU roster thus far. And, we really want to see what they can bring to the table coming up in this next map and hopefully in the maps that come after that. Deadpool playing the Symmetra, playing the Hanzo here on Dorado. With his own moments, definitely shining stars. One of the standout performers on the side of the NTU roster. This duo was pretty cute. Just maximum APM coming out from the Zarya of Sleep Frogguwu, but still able to secure the kill was Deadpool on the Hanzo. And I really want to see whether they can continue to perform at such a high level, or perhaps even raise their game to really carry their team to victory.
Definitely. In fact, as I said, the upcoming map will be KOF actually. It will be a control map again because the map will be looping. It's a best of 7. So if NTU is able to win, we'll be in for a ride. But if Sleep Frogguwu actually wins, then that will be it.
That'll be it.
Yeah, but hopefully we'll be able to see a long ride here.
Yeah.
So
one final word on the matter. We've seen both teams run double shield. We've seen both teams run a standard brawl, and we've seen both teams run Winston-based brawl dive compositions with the Zarya or the D.Va as an off-tank. So, what do you think, in your opinion, should NTU go for to really maximize the chances of playing to their strengths?
As mentioned earlier, I feel that they should run a DPS composition. So I do believe tanks might be actually maybe they should run a tank duo that doesn't really rely on making plays. So maybe a double shield composition such as Orisa Sigma, or maybe a dive composition, but letting the DPS do most of the heavy lifting. The good thing is that the upcoming map Control is actually usually a KOF map is more DPS centered. As you can see during the first match of the day, Lijiang Tower, there was less of a difference in skill and less of a difference in score in terms of the percentages when during the map itself, because both the DPSs were able to actually try to carry their weight. But in the end, it still came down to those minor misplays that eventually caused NTU the KOF map. So yeah, hopefully on Control we'll be able to see the difference, the difference in the team compositions that are coming up, especially if they run a more DPS skill-based composition.
Well, if Control's the map type that favors NTU the most, then they've got the best shot of seeing the start of a reverse sweep begin in the next map. So, as we head into Control for the 4th map of the series, can't wait to see what NTU is going to bring to the table and start their fight back. So don't go anywhere, we will be back shortly.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Singapore Collegiate Clash 2021. My name is Twilight yet again, and this is, of course, Lumos here to bring you some amazing Grand Finals gameplay. But before that, of course, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors and partners as well, to Enter the Studio, All For You, Game.gg, Game Pro Shop, Uni.co, Pinterest, as well as Blizzard Southeast Asia. You know, that's actually a fun thing with Antidote Studio right now. They, of course, you can get your uniquely designed artisan keycaps, premium desk mats, and switches. Just head over to theantidotestudio.com and you can get 5% off using this code called Antidote SOCC. That's right, Antidote SOCC to get yourself 5% off.
Which I find it kind of funny how when it's myself and Xenofly on the desk, I'm the one doing the host and introducing him. And then when you come back, you're the one that's introducing me. Kind of interesting, isn't it?
You make a good point.
Kind of funny, yeah. But anyway, just stalling for time. Not much to stall for the players. Almost ready to head into the 4th map of the series. But it will be Control again. And as you know, our analyst Xenofly alluded to just a while ago, this is the map type that's most likely to favor NTU winning based on what we've seen thus far. So we're going to Nepal, which we also saw yesterday. So no big surprises here. No Oasis for us today, I suppose.
Yeah, speaking of Oasis, I have not seen a single Oasis map, not even in the qualifiers, if I remember correctly. It's quite sad, actually. I was hoping to see Oasis.
Well, if NTU does go for the reverse sweep and they win the next 3 maps, then we will end up back at Control for map 7. So that, as we can't replay the same map twice in the series, we may well see something like Oasis coming at that point.
Yeah, I mean, NTU really needs to go for the mental reset right now after losing 3 games in a row. Not gonna lie, I have to give it to them. They actually were pretty close, but it's just that, like we mentioned at the start of today, that Frogguwu, they kind of have the upper edge here in terms of the players. They are brand, they're fresh new, and they are just amazing overall, like younglings. I mean, they're all under, not all under 8, actually all under 18, right?
Possibly, most likely. Sure. But I would like to go into something you mentioned just a while ago, actually, in terms of a mental reset. If there is a map type to reset on, it probably is Control, because it tends to be more chaotic, tends to be more free-flowing and fast-paced, and that really allows you to some extent turn your brain off and just run in and shoot people, So I think that is the best possible map type to go for a mental reset, to really allow you to focus purely on your gameplay and not think too much about everything else, including the circumstances, the score, how the previous maps may have gone, how your strategies and compositions may not have worked out so well. Control really lets you focus and go back to the basics.
Right, and right now we're going to hop on to map number 4, which is Nepal, of course. Game number 4 of today could potentially be the last one as well, between SU before result and Sleep Frogguwu. Let's see how the lineup flows. And usually you can see Ankun on the beautiful Sigma has been doing a lot of work as Sigma, honestly. And alongside with the follow-up of his DPS has just allowed him to just go ham.
Well, Deadpool on the McCree and Bubble Kitty on the Tracer, pretty much two of the best carry DPS heroes in the game. So, thanks to what Xenofly mentioned a while ago, that could be the key to victory for NTU. On the other hand, Sleep Frogguwu going for the double shield combination with the Batiste and the Lucio once again. So no surprises there, a very stable composition.
That's right, and right off the bat, Sleep Frogguwu is going to be on the point right off the bat. And they're going to do a great job just holding SU before results of the point. But right at the last moment, that's going to be first blood from Sleep, Sleep. And just like that, they are able to just push on. But just like that, SU, they're going to clean up just right off the first pick as well. Last one remaining, Charlton on the point. And Overshake is going to swap out over to the Doomfist.
Yep, the initial aggression working out well for the side of NTU. Just diving in and getting some very quick kills. Not quite able to position correctly there as Sleep Frogguwu, and they're going to make wholesale changes now, switching to a much more mobile composition with the Winston, D.Va, the Moira, and the Lucio. We call this the Death Ball Zombie comp. Here comes the initial dive.
Alright, hopping right onto the backline. Pao, they are able to find the Cassidy, and that's one DPS down for the count in exchange for their own DPS. They're just hopping on the side, going for the backline. You can see how ButterX just go and butter up Zerit and just spread him on a piece of bread.
Yep, and Unknown, just for good measure, eats up the pulse bomb of Bubble Kitty. And I think that dive was very well executed from the side of Frogguwu. SU before results not quite able to react in time to save Bubble Kitty from being taken out by the opposing Tracer. So a pretty quick flip around, all things considered. And the initiative, the ball back in Frogguwu's court.
Yeah, I mean, Frogguwu, they went in dry, no ultimates whatsoever. As before results, they had ultimates up and ready, but couldn't really use it, and they didn't want to stagger their ultimates and just waste them. So right now they're gonna pop up in this fight. As of course, Haji with the beautiful sound barrier being able to negate most of this ultimates. That's basically 4 ultimates from the side of SU before result. But you can just see Coalescence being popped here by Shadow Litton as well. The counter out, they just took a bit too long, and simply are able to get their ultimates up and running, and just like that, they are able to push SU before result off the point. After using the ultimate, they're gonna swap out.
Yeah, I'm not entirely certain where the nano boost from Zerate went. I think it was onto the Winston, but not too much he can do against the very mobile composition of Frogguwu. Jet2 also not able to find anything with the Deadeye, so the ultimate from NTU not yielding any purchase. Now it is the turn of Frogguwu to have some ultimates to work with. Pulse Bomb doesn't really connect. Let's force back the members of NTU.
I mean, Overshake does have Death Blossom as right as I mentioned. There we go. That's the Death Blossom, a huge one at that. 3 down on the side of SU before result. And ButterX is just gonna go and find the remaining players left and go for the cleanup. And there we go. Team Q coming in from Sleep.
Ooh, a bit of DM coming into the chat from Unknown there. Praising the opposing DPS, maybe sarcastically, we'll never know. But still, 82% and counting for Slip. Last chance for NTU to get a fight win.
That's right. Deeptix has to find a way there with the Primal Rage. Doesn't get it off in time. He just gets melted. Papa Kitty has to find something to work with the Pulse Bomb, but can't really find it. But in the meantime, Hazi actually finds a huge whoop onto Daneview, pushing the Reaper off of the map. And this is gonna allow Slip to go into overtime. And Bubble Kitty on the point, trying to stall it. Trying to at least hang on just a bit longer for his teammates to come and follow up. Bubble does end up onto the Bubble Kitty, and they are able to contest the point, get it into their hands yet again. But the ultimates are gonna come out from Slip yet again. There we go. Coalescence being popped here by Shadow Litton, doing so much damage and healing.
And the big problem for NTU is that they lost their Reaper so early on in the fight, so the damage just not there for the side of SU before a result, and Slip Frogguwu at the end of the day. That late Coalescence coming through from Shadow Litton, just boosting everybody back up to full health. Unknown jumps off the map in celebration. Hazi beats on top of, well, that little pillar in celebration. And it is a round win for the side of Slip Frogguwu. So 1 round away from taking this title, from winning it 4-0 in the grand final. That would not have been the expected result, but that may just be where it's headed at the moment.
Oh man, SU before results, they actually almost got Sanctum in their hands, but now they're gonna hop onto Shrine. Shrine could be a bit spicy. It's of course the Pharah map, and there we go. Pao gonna be the one on the Pharah. Maybe Papa Kitty could be playing the Pharah as well. Maybe a pharmacy combo, perhaps. There we go. Baba Kitty gonna swap it out, and Claire gonna go on the Mercy. As mentioned, but since Frogguwu, yeah, Pao just gonna get the teleporter up for his team and swap out to to the Cassidy this time. I mean, that's just perfect, right? You just see the Pharah coming on top of the high ground there, and then you just swap over to Cassidy. Instant counter pick coming in from Pao. Beautifully done.
Yeah, I was going to say that Slip have not really been running much in the way of hit scans so far this map, so the swap from Bubble Kitty makes sense. Imofil forced out early from Slip, but it doesn't matter as they take out the opposing Winston to take things off. The Diva will also get a D-Max, and before the Pharah can get too much damage in, they're sticking out for one, and the rest of the team also falls. So Slip Frogguwu working well as a unit.
I mean, that's the thing about a pharmacy combo, right? You're practically playing 4v6 on the ground with the the DPS and the support in the air. It's kind of hard to translate that into damage, especially when simply are just negating most of your rockets. Although Baba Kitty, he does get 77 up on that rocket barrage, just a matter of moments. He's trying to get that peak damage. But other than that, the 4v6 on the ground is kind of tough for SU before result. But so far, looks like Daneview will be able to get a first pick right off the bat. Baba Kitty going with the concussive and goes to the backline, but gets eaten up by the kinetic grabs. SU before result. Based off that, they kind of distracted the Sigma and then allowed their team to just push on in.
as the whole of Slip turn around to deal with that Pharah and the barrage, the rest of SU before result able to rush in and clean up the kills. So a respectable amount of percentage gained by Slip, but STU take the point back before too much damage can be done.
We do have 3 ultimates from the south. As you before result, they are being popped from both sides, as well as the nano boost for the Winston. Valkyrie going down very shortly. How can finds one more shot? There we go. That's the Valkyrie down for the count as well. I hear rXis dropping down the hammer. The Earth Shadow comes on through. It lands onto at least 2 here. rXis goes for a beautiful charge from top of BTX, and BTX down for the count. And Slip turns things into their favor yet again.
Yep, and the question, the dynamic at work here is whether Bubble Kitty can get enough damage in on the members of Slip before they can chase down the backline of NTU. But in this instance, the Pharah failed to respect the Deadeye coming in from power on the other side, and that allows the fight to very quickly go the way of Slip Frogguwu. So now, again, NTU will have to find a way to push onto the point, really not the easiest of tasks.
And there's the kinetic grasp onto the 2 tanks. Just use that follow-up right now. Hazi has the sound barrier as well for the follow-up, as well as the amplification matrix. Looks like Bubble Kitty kind of ran out of gas and falls to his death. And right now, Stips is going to capitalize on top that pushes in right into ASU before result. Right now on 80% with a team kill. ASU before result has one last chance to push onto the side. They are going to opt out to the Wrecking Ball as well.
The tanks just not able to initiate on the side of NTU as Slip Frogguwu so effectively used their ultimates. In that instance, it was the Gravitic Flux. Now Pao has the Deadeye. It's really going to make life difficult for Bubble Kitty.
They have the Earth Shatter at the same time. Over time, Hazi pops the barrier. It's gonna enable them to just sustain onto the point. Pretty long rocket barrage just coming from Bubble Kitty, but gets eaten up. It does get 1 kill in the end, however. Harley tried to find a lot of time onto the point, just rolling around, gets the kill onto the main tank now, trying to use the adaptive shield to last as long as possible, but may overshake, doing so much work as well onto the point. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for the grand finals. GG into the favor of Slip Frogguwu, 4-2-0 against SU before results.
Well, what can we say? I don't think 4-0 was the expected result. You didn't expect it, neither did I. But it is a clean sweep in the grand finals for the side of the youngsters from Slip Frogguwu. And at the end of the day, Nepal was possibly the least close map of them all, despite what we expected. And what can we say? They just upped their game. The composition choices were perfect. The execution, the initiative taken by the side of Slip Frogguwu was just sublime. They were able to so effectively shut down the members of NTU. So, aesthetic faces on the side of Slip Frogguwu and the fans and friends and supporters. And it is a LAN event victory for the side of Slip Frogguwu. So, really nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing overall. I mean, from Slip, right? I mean, they from the side of NTU, they should have probably SU'd before this competition.
Yeah, unfortunately, don't think that they predicted such a result, but it was a valiant attempt. Definitely gave a good account of themselves. But at the end of the day, in this instance, not able to overcome the sheer firepower, the sheer confidence coming out from the side of Slip Frogguwu. So it is a 4-0. We would have liked to see the series go longer, I have to say. But on the other hand, it's great to see such a dominant performance coming in from some new players that we haven't really seen play together as a team in this competition before.
And let's look at Slip Frogguwu. They're just having a ball of a time. So overall, in general, I think that was just amazing gameplay. Overshake. It was like, no, let's not cut to that comment. No, and there's some beautiful sportsmanship coming in from the esports players, shaking hand, NTU and Slip just coming together, shaking hands away.
Yep, mutual respect between both teams. I think they are aware of how good, the individual players are on the other side, or on the respective teams, and it may just have been a team difference, frankly, an inability to perform as well together as a unit rather than individual players. So it's good to see that we've had some fresh faces coming in, having success at this tournament. Definitely great to see that this event has run beautifully without major hitches, that we've been able to bring to you high quality gameplay from both teams.
Yeah, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, that's rXis right there on the camera, of course. That's going all around. I believe Overshake is also trying to make a video for himself, taking a picture with Baba Kitty, one of the insane DPS players coming in from NTU, of course. And that's about it. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Sleep for Guru is your 2021 SCC champions. Huge shout outs to the players, especially from NTU. They definitely tried their best against all this fresh blood, and definitely their blood is definitely the freshest out there right now. And so I just want to give, of course, a huge shout out to our sponsors yet again for allowing all of this to be possible. Thank you so much to Antidote Studio, All For You, Game.gg, Game Pro Shop, Unico Princess, as well as Blizzard Southeast Asia. And right now they're just having their prize pool ceremony. All the players are coming
We're
along.
going to present some tokens of appreciation as well as prizes to the players that have dedicated their time to practicing for the tournament, to scrimming together, to reviewing VOD footage, and of course, taking time off during the weekend to come down to the venue to play. So we'll be showing that to you shortly. I think the players for now are just taking stock of the match, just having fun, talking to each other, chilling, and cooling down after a pretty intense final series.
Also, a huge shout out, of course, to Esports Experience Center, right here, hosted in Kallang Wave Mall, for providing us this venue and allowing this offline tournament to happen in the first place, of course.
Yep, and that's the first time that we've done a live event, an offline tournament from our overall Pacific Overwatch community, and it's been great that we've gotten such a fantastic venue with player setup as well as all the necessary production equipment and rooms and pasta desks. You name it. It's a pretty professional setup that we have here. So thank you once again to the Esports Experience Center at the Kallang Wave Mall for allowing us to bring this event to you.
And let's not forget about, of course, our production too, and the audience out there for just entertaining us as well as we entertain you. A huge shout out to Froggy for being the headmaster production, as well as Vips behind the camera, being a Froggy's second-hand man. Shout out to Crest as well for organizing this tournament, as well as Maya, aka Lady Death. And even we have Xenofly, an Overwatch World Cup player here for all the analysts as well. Would have been playing, but oh, and he graduated from NTU.
Yep, not very pleased at being called out there, but whatever. Thank you very much for the analysis either way. Yeah, it's been a fun time. Of course, it's great to have the opportunity to cast live. I will admit, I didn't think I'd get the opportunity to do that for Overwatch specifically, but we did get a chance to do it anyway, and it was a great experience. So, pretty thankful. It was fun.
Right now, they're just gathering for the group photos for all the players of Sleep for Good. The gifts are all coming out now. Happy faces, happy faces for the amphibians here, the Frogguwu here.
Hazy sporting a custom Soul Dynasty jersey. Impressive. Pretty dedicated, you do have to say.
Oh, there we go. That's the keycaps right there.
And that's Claire right there. In fact, slotting from the role of player right back into the role of tournament organizer. That does beg the question: if NTU had won, would he be presenting that prize to himself?
People would call it rigged, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess NTU just had to lose to prove it wasn't rigged. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, it's either you lose the 2021 championship or get called out for being rigged, right?
Yeah, so
it's a tough
catch 22 situation.
Catch 22. You see how the players are sliding up. No, there's just a bit camera shy. Keep it camera shy for the grand finals, the photo taking. And that's Lady Death right there, trying to set up the photos as well. And that's Ricky, one of the main photographers, taking away the table. I'm not sure where to bring that. Maybe going for a better background. Yeah, that's right. They're going for the better background. And if you see the door right in front of you right now, that's us. We are in that room right now.
Yeah, so a bit of an interesting behind the scenes, breaking the fourth wall action here. As the players get very close to our door, you may start to hear some of them leaking through the mics, which is going to be interesting.
This is actually pretty funny. Let's just try the other side. So the prize, of course, is that wonderful gift from Unico, of course, uni.co.
Yeah, and in fact, we'll see if we can get some of the winning players in for an interview later on. Because it will be interesting to hear how their thoughts have changed from yesterday to today after coming out on top in this tournament. Our prizes being handed over to our victorious team. Very magnanimous, you have to say, from Claire, being the one to hand out the prizes personally to the winning team.
Yeah, look at that. Beautifully done. I mean, it would have been a huge upset if Slip Slip lost this grand finals, right? I mean, they were doing perfectly throughout the qualifiers, throughout the playoffs, and even now the semifinals as well. And if they lost this against NTU, yeah, I mean, even I would call it rigged.
Yeah, it would be a bit of an upset, especially had it been a dominant scoreline. Of course, if the game had been close in either direction, I think we would have called that a pretty satisfying result.
Yep.
But it's also good to see the rise of a new dominant team, and of course, this does beg the question as we move forward into future iterations of the tournament: are we going to see this roster return in its current form and attempt to defend its title? Are we going to see more players coming from the secondary school and JC teams? And as a result, these players divide into multiple separate teams. So that is something that I am interested to follow and find out what will happen in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really anticipating Frogguwu to just stay together as a team. They've been doing pretty solid teamwork overall, and they should be able to bring this to the next level. I mean, they're as much as competent as the contenders player, even if I must say so myself.
Yeah, and there are definitely some players from many of the different teams here in the tournament, but particularly from the players in the finals weekend, as well as the Slip Slip Frogguwu team, that have proven their ability, to really compete with semi-professional players or even professional players, in contenders and trials. And there is certainly a future, perhaps, in esports for these players.
So, of course, like right after this, we'll be going into the post-match analysis. Any thoughts for this grand finals, or you want to save that for the analysts?
Well, we do only have one more map to analyze, it has to be said. So it's not that much to talk about. Perhaps I will save it for the analysis desk. What we do also have is an interview, as promised, with members of the winning team. So that will be coming up shortly after this break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the winners interview. Alongside with me right now, I have one of the main tank players from from Slip Slip Frogguwu. This is, of course, Butter X4. So, first question, I want to ask, how do you feel right now after winning the SCC 2021?
Well, first of all, I'm ecstatic because this is one of my first LAN experiences that I've ever had, and I'm fairly new to the competitive scene for Overwatch.
Fairly new, okay.
Yeah, since I started, I think around 2 years ago. I picked up the game 2 years ago.
Years ago. Wow, you started pretty young, didn't you?
Yeah.
So how was the matchup that we just saw? Was it tough? Was it kind of a steamroll in your opinion, or were there some difficulty in communication or whatsoever?
I mean, we did not end up dropping a single map during qualifiers and during the actual tournament itself here at the LAN. But there were some challenges, especially in that last match. Bubble Kitty was an absolute menace, and I needed my whole team to step up, and they helped me a lot. I want to especially thank Unknown, who is my off tank player.
He's also insane.
He kept me up a lot and enabled me so much, and I want to give credit to him. He's insane.
Okay, I mean, do you guys anticipate to be playing more together in the future tournaments as well?
Perhaps there are probably a few chances where we will be able to play together. But most of the people in our team are probably going to university soon, so there's going to be that difference now. But I'm sure we'll still be close as a team.
I hope so. I mean, you guys look great together. You guys seem to have been having tons of fun from what I'm hearing outside, hyping one another up as well. Oh man, I mean, it does remind me of like the good days in Overwatch as well, right? Back when there was a lot of LAN tournaments when there was no COVID as well. The pre-COVID times, yeah. Just everyone just hyping up. And it's nice to see an upcoming team from you guys in general. Any shout outs you want to give to your friends out there, fans and friends, or audience, supporters, teammates?
First of all, I want to thank my dad who actually came to the LAN.
Okay.
Yeah, he came to the LAN. That was very nice of him, and I appreciate that a lot. And I especially just want to thank my team because I would not be here if it wasn't for them. They kept me up a lot when I was like, doing very like ballsy plays, like
a lot of ballsy plays.
Yeah, charging into the back line, or like sometimes I was like feeding or something, and my team like helped me through that, especially like coaching me and helping me. That was just like something that I'm very grateful for.
Right, amazing. And of course, this has been the interview with, of course, Butter X4. This is an amazing time to see like all the players come down from the team. A bunch of really young faces. I've never seen you guys before. And Overwatch has been out for quite some time. And considering that you started 2 years ago, you guys got a lot of practice in, didn't you? I mean, what's your rank in right now?
I'm Masters. I'm around 3.8. And
I mean, you're almost there at Grandmasters. And potentially, I mean, I see you being a top 500 player, even in Southeast Asia, especially. So that is all for the player interview. My name is Twice, and this has been Butter X4 from Sip Frogguwu. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be heading into the analysts later on after this short break. See you guys then.
Welcome back once again for the last time to the Singapore Collegiate Clash 2021. Lumos here with Xenofly once again. Post an analysis desk, but really there has not been too much gameplay since the last time we appeared. Just one more map control, and it went the way of Frogguwu once again to close out the series. And well, Zeno, you alluded to control being an opportunity for the DPS of NTU to shine, but it looked to me like Slipslip really came in with a plan and they really shut down the members of NTU pretty hard with some pretty intelligent composition choices.
Definitely, like I said, the flexibility of the DPS choices on Frogguwu actually played a very instrumental role in countering whatever NTU had to offer. NTU actually tried to play pharmacy, but instantly got shut down by the Cassidy. If you notice, so many Cassidy Heinens were used to actually zone out the pharmacy and in fact outright kill the pharmacy in some of the fights. And because of that, pharmacy was actually always, the Pharah always had to, Baba Kitty always had to play very safe. And because he had to play safe, he wasn't able to get as much value as he desired. Also, in addition to that, although as you mentioned, it was as I mentioned and you mentioned and you agree as well that KOF is basically more of a DPS map, but in the end, actually, the tank gameplay outshine the DPSs on those maps. So, like as you see just now, Butter X4, he was very confident on his tank gameplay during the last KOF map. So. Yeah, I'm not surprised that Frogguwu actually managed to pull off a win, despite the fact that there was a possibility of NTU actually making an upset. But don't forget, throughout this whole tournament, Frogguwu actually never dropped a single map. So I'm actually amazed and impressed that they actually were able to maintain a cleaner record. In fact, during online qualifiers, actually they're different beasts altogether. And when it comes to land, they still were able to maintain their clean record, even against powerhouses like NTU, who actually were the defending champions of this tournament. So yeah, I'm actually glad to see that this new fresh blood were able to actually trim over the NTU team.
Yeah, and I think Frogguwu played against 6 different teams across the course of this tournament, if I'm not mistaken. And they didn't drop a map to any one of them. A 17-0 record is what I believe the final map score is. So many players you could credit on the side of Slip for this dominant performance, but for this match in particular, we have only one player of the match, and it is none other than Pau on the DPS role. We talked about DPS being very strong for NTU, but those from the side of Slip definitely able to hold their ground. Pau and the Genji with some huge blades coming in to really turn the tide on Dorado, and also on the other maps. Tracer, I think the dive synergy was very good with some of the tanks, the ability to just pincer the members of the members of NTU, excuse me, just coming from the backline and do so much damage to support. Multiple times you got the initial pick on the opposing Cassidy on the opposing main healer, and that really made the difference. Just turned the tide so effectively for Slip in so many of these fights.
Definitely, most of the fights, if I was running Cassidy, I always see his name as on the kill feed on the offensive end, and he always picks off the supports. So that's a very strong advantage for Frogguwu to go into a fight with a one-man advantage, and especially since usually the support that gets picked off is Raid. Unfortunately, so yeah, because NTU lose their main source of sustain, very unfortunate, and Pau really managed to get into those sneaky positions, those flanking positions. In fact, I was speaking to the NTU just now earlier, and yeah, definitely Pau was actually flanking way too much, and it was very annoying for NTU to actually deal with these flanks that Pau keep executing, because one Cassidy appear, one flashbang and one right click, and support is dead. So definitely they had to always keep an eye out for Pau's flanks. And just because of that, they were able to actually secure a psychological advantage over NTU.
Yeah, and don't forget the wide range of heroes that he showed. The Tracer and the Genji, very traditional dive heroes, but different in its own right. And of course, your very traditional hit scan specialist in Cassidy. He was able to perform on all of them and really be an effective contributor to his team's success. Well, we're almost out of time for the Singapore Collegiate Clash 2021. It was fantastic to be able to end off with a live event. So thank you very much to all of the organizers, to all of the players for coming down, and of course to you as well, Xenofly, for coming and being our analyst this weekend. It's great to have insight from a high-level player. Always something valuable to bring to our viewers. Great to have that. And nothing else to say except see you in the next tournament, and we hope you return to our stream.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.